This game is the Dark Souls of FPS. No, I'm done. Welcome to, whatever the heck this is. Alright, so, I need you, so I'm going to pause the Marlowe music. I need you to tell me how the volume is. Right, we can turn it down a bit more. That's 20% sound. Okay, we'll leave it at 20% then. By the way, I do want to say a couple of shout-outs to Mr. Red, who obviously actually did some work on this game. But Mr. Red also did some additional work on this game, putting together a custom mod just for this stream so that we won't have any copywrong issues. So if you ever hear a song that sounds a little bit strange, it's because it's actually one of my mixes, which is, you know, stuff I can verify and have verified is copywrong safe, that, you know, can place at certain, or play in certain sections. And Mr. Red is the one who specifically picked and chose what goes where, because he knew the scenes, and he knew the maps, and he knew the moments, and that's why F0 is there. Okay. Let's just, so, okay. Before we jump into it, I should actually mention, I've actually kind of been perusing the options menu a little bit. There's actually an extraordinarily large number of options. I've changed a couple of things around to try and make this a little bit better. I do like the fact that it literally lets you turn your screen size into whatever the hell you want. And we have my personal favorite 4x3 format right there, 2700 by 2000. Integer scaling in the HUD? Well, let's find out. So we've got interface scale, we've got override settings, preserve aspect ratio, we've got screen border, scaling factor, aspect ratio, and an auto scale to best size. That's a good question, DJT. I suppose we'll find out. Anyways, there's a lot of options. There's a ton of options. Plus 2 options. Oh yeah, every time you Alt-Tab, it pauses, and that sucks. I know that's the problem with a lot of games. It still irritates me every time I see that. I'm probably the only person in the world who's bothered by that. So I was told to pick and difficulty... Ah, there we go. Okay, so what do we got here? Ammo, health, and armor drops are different. Enemies have less health, hit less, and keys and important locations are marked on the map. Enemies are enemy health, slightly more drops, important readables marked on the map. Enemies have full strength, and you'll have to better manage ammo and consumables. Enemies deal 50% more damage, and you'll find less ammo. Progression hints are no longer highlighted in readables. Fit for those who really want to challenge their survivor skill and wit. A chaotic difficulty that shifts gameplay towards more combat and carnage. There are new monster spawns. Higher tier enemies appear earlier and are stronger and more aggressive than usual. However, you also get the weapons, consumables, and ammo required to put them down. You also have the chance to encounter a couple of companions along the way. And finally, can't use guns, but you gain access to a new set of melee weapons to help you overcome this challenge. Monster strength is normal, but spawns are similar to brutalizing. So, this is definitely plus territory for difficulty design. The question is it more than 1 plus for difficulty design? What are we thinking? What are we thinking? This would also probably apply for replayability, although I like to assess that at the end, not the beginning. I like that it actually says stuff, too. That's rare. Usually I have to go Google that. Well, something 2 pluses would be really good difficulty design. 3 pluses would be Dishonored 2. Let's just call that what it is. So that's always the metric I use. I have something in my head for what is a 3 positive or a 3 negative, and I tend to think about, you know, how does this compare to that? So how does this compare to Dishonored 2? This is nowhere near as good as Dishonored 2. So it's not 3 positive. Okay, cool. But it's definitely better than just generally good gameplay options, so again, we have to decide where exactly in levels here. Apparently I can talk to these people. That honestly didn't even occur to me. I'm glad to see you, Sarge. Demon's got us trapped here and we need help. Horned bastards have sealed off every exit. There's no way we can get out of here. Hey, Sam, good to see you in one piece. Recording in here. You gotta help us. I don't know what's up with this accent. I mean, Texan orcs sound kind of cool, I admit. There's a bit of an option there. There's a sequel to this game? I can see we're playing Elden Ring again. No, just save. Save! There we go. Why would you save? Yep. Interesting. A wrinkly parchment rests on the floor. You translate the demonic language with ease. My faithful servant, you were indeed right. The Iron Division orcs and their allies have launched a full-scale assault of our hellish domain. Once this bold affront is dealt with, I shall send my demon troops to reclaim your shattered outposts and deliver the punishment for your failure to stop them. And make sure nobody leaves your petty little town, or the consequences will be worse than death. Sincerely, BB. P.S. Netflix and chill next Thursday. Yeah, Mr. Red might be a little biased towards this game. Which is why I'm giving it 15 negatives for bias. Well, I guess I would be giving Mr. Red negatives, wouldn't it? That's an interesting idea, actually. Hey, think about this for a second. Think about, like, a custom... Rather than setting, like, I wish this to be heated because it's this type of dish, or because I'm checking for temperature, just have it say, okay, I want to run E1, M1. And then it finishes, and then your food's good, because that's the length of time it takes to heat that up. Sorry, I'm an idiot. That's hysterical, Alex. Just spam holy for me, would you? Okay. No, boiling an egg, that's getting multiple people. Like, it's a quantity of how many holy spammers you get. That determines the heat that's generated by the PS4s. Now everyone's nervous while waiting for that dwarf to arrive. We've suspended the mining operations lest more quakes bury us in the tunnels. Then there's the crawlers, big enough to swallow a goblin whole. They're making such smooth progress. These caverns are chock full of crystals, almost as many as are rumored to be inside the crystal heart. No wonder the Lancers have sent power in here and sent us in. Maybe we can manage to dig up more of those cyan magenta formations or the yellow power shards. Hope them dwarves can get some sniff out some mithril. Oh, stumble. Sorry, my throat's killing me. It won't be too bad by the end. Surely this is a game that doesn't involve a lot of reading. Man, I can barely talk at all right now, Mr. Red. Give me a break. I'll be more Texan tomorrow. Yeah, that's what I thought. Sorry, I was checking something real quick. Oh, actually, I should check this too. While we're here. Oh my god, it's us! We have blue skin. Why aren't we green? Negative 15 to gameplay. We're not green. We also apparently have horns. Interesting. Yes, this is System Shock. This actually is a prequel to System Shock. Sorry for the spoilers. We're actually playing Shodan. That would be an interesting game design. Think about it. You've ever played Overlord, I think it is? You know, designing the dungeons that adventurers are going through. Imagine playing as Shodan and you're just, you know, trying to manipulate the station to kill the hacker. Oh, time to drink. Well, I couldn't pick him up, Mr. Red, so there was only one option. Die, fish. Die! Alright, I feel really bad for that fish, actually. Die, monster!
You don't belong.
Head bob kind of bothers me. I'll explain that really quick. Hang on. It was the first thing I turned off. There it is. View bob while moving. So it defaults up here. Which means this. And this can go to hell. No offense to anybody who likes this, but oh my god, that is so disorienting to me. No, that was, HUD. You can also crank it up even more. Check this out. Oh, yeah. So here's our head bob while not moving. And here's head bob. Mega head bob. There's also weapon bob, which I think I have on. But yeah, anyway, sorry. Moving on. Moving on. Like, every time I hear someone talk positively about motion blur, it's like someone's talking to me and just saying... It is speaking in Cthulhuese, which I'm not going to do right now because my throat hurts. And I'm like, but... What? But I don't... What? I have encountered a game where you can't turn off motion blur. It's called Bloodborne. It was one of the biggest headache inducers for me when I was playing Bloodborne. Not the difficulty. Not the boss design or anything else. No, it was the blur. It's that frickin' blur. Hello? Yeah, that's not creepy. What happened to the moon? You, caused by mining and insufficient safety regulations. Get back here so I can murder you horribly. Okay, I can't pick it up. I can't pick it up. How could I? No! I think we died. Get back here. Get back here. You will die. There we go. Got it. We'll see, is honestly my answer to that, Lunaru. That's... I was trying to pick it back up. So I hit the one button, thinking, without really thinking about it, that would equip my fist. Charlie deserved what he got, that's all I'm saying. If he'd have just acquiesced to my request, he'd still be alive. But he didn't. Well, so far the story of the game is we woke up one day in a mine, and people were dead, and now we've left the area, and there's cultists who've killed our fellow orcs. I get the strong vibe that we're actually a conquering power, and we're the bad guys. It's just we're also fighting other bad guys, because that's usually how that goes with bad guys. As the old saying goes, Team Evil is not one unified, happy family. Hey, we can avoid alerting groups of enemies by attacking with our fists! Sorry. A favorite fictional time traveler. That guy. Last year, I think, Warcraft did. When did this come out again? I'm sorry, Mr. Red. I've already asked this question, but I've already forgotten the answer to it because I'm just that stupid. I'm actually one of these cultists. That's why I'm that stupid. I just Spike. Spike. That's because it literally is Trahexia. That's not even conjecture. Twitch has been downgrading too. It's why, once I take over the world, I'm going to have to actually run around and be like, alright, here, there's this new streaming YouTube video hosting service that is designed to be a video streaming hosting service rather than designed to be a company that's supposed to try and make money. VodTube. I kind of like that. StreamTube, maybe? And then YouTube will be like, hey, that's our name! And then I will punch them in the face. Pook. There we go. And once they're face punched, then it'll be back to, you know, calling it VodTube or VodRunner or something like that. LoreTube? No. Like, that gets across the wrong impression, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? 4-key. Unfortunately, this is not Dark Messiah. I mean, fortunately, but also unfortunately. Where the hell? I'm actually turned around. Where the hell am I? Dark Messiah was unique. I hesitate to call it a good game because it had a lot of issues, but it was a unique game. It's one of the rare games that didn't review that well that I would still recommend people play just because it's worth a playthrough, right? It's worth trying it out, seeing what they did with it. The rope thing and the kick thing alone make that game worth playing. And yeah, there's our axe thing. I saw that Warcraft code. I mean, I know Asmongold is kind of a big name in streaming for Warcraft, but really? And he actually interviewed Eon, which actually that's probably the best choice there. Now I need to interview Eon and be like, alright, when are you going to admit that you're a frickin' moron? No, I'm joking. Pro tip, never be that hostile of an interviewer, or interviewer, I'm right. You can ask real questions. See, that's the thing. Most people, real tip. Some people seem to think that in order to not be hostile, you have to let the interviewee control the interview and walk all over you. That way, you'll get more interviews in the future. And while that's true to an extent, it's possible to, you know, actually ask real questions and bother with real answers in a real interview without being hostile about it. A lot of it comes down to tone, presentation, trying to be like, look, you know, I think several people can agree there were some mistakes made about this or that. What those mistakes are varies because nobody can agree on anything. But, ... and so forth and so on. Instead of being like, why are you so awesome? Go make a noise. If they get evasive, then there's almost no point in interviewing them. If they remain evasive, there's definitely no point in interviewing them. Like, did anyone actually watch any of the interviews about, I forget his name, but the main liar behind No Man's Sky? Because that dude, there was no reason to interview that dude other than just for the spectacle of it. He was not answering anything. That was those were non-interviews, to put it as bluntly as I can. Okay, so anyone over here? Oh yeah, no, I agree, Alex. Sean Murray himself can go to frickety hell because he's a liar and a scam artist. But the team at least put in something to make, you know, a game. And I myself have admitted, in fact, we did a, what do we call it? We called it something unique because we went back to re-review and re-stream No Man's Sky after it became a game. And it wasn't bad. I know that's not exactly high praise, but I stand by it. It wasn't bad. You will be mine, little one. Oh, yes. They're not townsfolk, Inamisho. They're Sean Murray's! I'm sorry, I'm just getting into that now. The worst gaming con artist? Define worst. What metric are we using here? Because my knee-jerk reaction is actually Peter Molyneux. Because what Molyneux does is... there's a Molyneux cycle he's been going through since the late 90s. It's actually insane. Like, Molyneux literally is like, hey, there's this new game. Pipe, 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 pipe. Oh, it was all lies. It was all lies. That game was always crap. I knew it was always crap. I'm sorry that I told you it wasn't crap, but it was always crap. Please believe me now that that game was always crap. We're working on a new game, though. This new game, it's going to be really good. Hype, 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 hype. Whatever. Whatever. So that's an interesting question, Evo. So you're probably not aware of this, but a few weeks, maybe even a month or so ago now at this point, I started replaying Baldur's Gate 1 with my friends. Co-op campaign. Woo! And then we quit. So, the odds of me replaying Baldur's Gate 1 are almost non-existent at this point. Because screw that mess. Baldur's Gate 2... probably not, as well. At what point? Well... we got to the first town. Or I guess technically the second town, but you know what I mean. First town after the doomed hometown. Spoilers. And then that was the end of that. Why did I quit? Well, actually, the reason I quit was because of something, I suppose it's related to gameplay. So, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, Enhanced Editions, have a known bug that has never been patched. It only affects certain people, but the way it boils down to it is if you are not the host of a multiplayer match... yeah. Oh, whatever. Then you have a random chance to crash anytime you do certain types of actions. These types of actions include, but are not limited to, talking to an NPC, trying to shop somewhere, map transitioning, entering combat, leaving combat, or opening your inventory. We were able to, with total reliability, get my game to crash, because Gary was actually hosting, by virtue of any of the actions I just mentioned. And then, just to make sure it wasn't me, I hosted, and Pax joined, and we were able to get him to crash with total reliability with doing all that stuff. Now, I know what you're thinking. Lore, that only affects multiplayer. And you're probably right. First of all, I'm not willing to take the risk on that, but second, and arguably more importantly, replaying Baldur's Gate 1 reminded me of how absolutely terrible that game is. So, no thank you. I suppose I should clarify that. There's... something I've been thinking about recently is there's content and then there's presentation on the story axis, and then there's content and then there's mechanisms on the gameplay axis. They both kind of apply the same way. This really came up when we were reviewing several Pokemon games in a row, because Pokemon Black and White had honestly pretty bad mechanisms, but really good content. Whereas Pokemon Sword and Shield had extremely good mechanisms and pretty bad content. And so forth and so on. So, like, it's a similar problem, because when I say the gameplay is bad, what I mean is the mechanisms, just the function of interacting with the game. the interface, the controls, the hotkeys, the functionality of actually playing the game made me want to tear my teeth out. So, no. I don't mean to be negative towards anybody who likes Baldur's Gate 1, by the way, or 2 for that matter. I just... There's... One of the things I have the hardest time tolerating is irritating mechanisms to play the game, right? Irritating controls, irritating interface, irritating number of button clicks. You know what I mean, right? And I call it irritating because that is exactly what it is. It's just a full detraction from the experience. It's like I'm trying to shove my hand through a bunch of gravel, which is heated, as I'm trying to get to the game, you know what I mean? And I don't have tolerance for that at this point in my life, you know. I lost tolerance for that 20 years ago. I don't know how to answer your question, Black Malkin. Everything? Okay. Okay. So we'll use Borderlands 3 because that's a lot more recent in my memory. In Borderlands 3, there is really bad color distinction. So this is a specific mechanic. It's hard to tell what you're looking at a glance. It's also hard to tell what you're looking at a glance, not just because of color distinction, but similarly because of how much visual noise is going on at any given point in time. Lots of explosions, lots of other stuff, right? So that's one thing. Okay, hang on. Now here's another thing. One of the things you can do is, if you're playing multiplayer with someone, you can actually have their names pop up wherever they are. And that name shows you exactly their location, even through walls. Like, for example, like if my friend was over there in that other area through that wall, I could see the name through that wall. So that's good, right? Except it's not, because it's inconsistent and bugged. Sometimes they're literally not there. Sometimes there are no names. Now, that's a bug, but you wanted a specific example, and here's a specific example of something that's just irritating, something that just gets in the way of understanding the game. There are times when some of my friends and I have died and not been able to find the other person to res them in time because we quite literally cannot actually find the person to res them. By the way, speaking of which, the interface has no good indicator of the fact that one of your teammates is down. The only thing that changes is one bit of text slightly changes in the far lower left of your screen, and that's it. There you go, specifics. Like I said, I could go into Borderlands 3 with specifics because I've been playing it recently, and that game has many irritations in its game design. Here's another one for you to keep talking about Borderlands 3. The mouse doesn't work right at all, just across the board. Describing how is kind of difficult to do, admittedly. What the hell is that? But the mouse does not work correctly. Pretty weird. So let's say, for example, let me use a specific example. You asked for specifics. Let's say you pop into the map. You're like, hey, map. And you want to warp to a specific spot. So use your mouse to mouse over the thing and click it. And either nothing happens, or you go to the wrong spot because it's actually indicating where your cursor should be, not where your mouse is. And I know what you think. What's the difference? Well, because the game was effectively designed for controllers, that's the distinction between the two. But hang on, it actually gets worse than that, because sometimes it's the flip. Sometimes the map only works with controller accurately, so this is a cursor, and sometimes it only works with mouse. So sometimes you use the arrow keys to navigate the map, and it sends you to the wrong spot because it's actually taking into account your mouse. Hang on, I got another one. I can keep going with this. Here's another one. So let's say that you pop into Borderlands 3 and you're on the ship, which is the central hub, and it's like, oh, cool, I'm in the ship. I want to warp away. So what you do is you open the map, and then you zoom out, and then you pull up the planet, then you pull up the zone, then you pull up the spot, then you click yes. All of this has the aforementioned mouse problem, by the way. So you do all those steps, and you hit yes, and then after hitting yes, it kicks you out of the map completely and says, hang on, one of your party members is in a menu. So then you got to start over, all over again, every time someone's in a menu. By the way, if someone enters a menu during the countdown, which happens for that, it cancels, and you have to start all over again. No, that's not a bug. It's just crap. Don't mistake me, there's good elements to Borderlands 3, but this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say the mechanism of playing the game is irritating. Because I don't have a better word for it. It's just frustration. Putting up with it, you know? Honestly, Borderlands 3 in a nutshell. There's... I'm trying to think of how to properly explain how stupid this is. There's a quest that has to do with Angel and Handsome Jack in Borderlands 3. It is a side quest. It is an extraordinarily easy to miss, nothing really seems to indicate that you're there to do it, side quest over there on the side. It is literally what I would consider to be critical info and backstory for both Angel and Handsome Jack. It is actually probably one of the only well-written side quests in the entire game. And it's a side quest which, the moment you finish getting the audio logs, is almost aggressively shoved aside for the actual reason you're doing that side quest, which is to enable, oh, isn't she quirky, lady, to gain more control over this one specific pump for this one specific spot, like this one camp. It's like, imagine if you learned about the secret, horrible, tragic backstory of Hitler or whatever, in order to be able to move a chair slightly to the left. And that's just how banal it's treated. Yeah, you remember Vaughn from Tales from the Borderlands? You remember how he was an interesting and complex character who had nuance to him and was just kind of awesome? And yeah, he's completely one note in Borderlands 3. Just completely. Anyways, sorry, we went way off track here, but my point is, irritations tend to pull me away from game experience to the point where at this point I'm just a lot less willing to put up with those kind of irritations. Which is why I've decided that if someone were to try to add Baldur's Gate to the list, I would say no. I don't think I've ever had a developer pop in. No. I've had people who know the developers. I've had people who worked with the developers before. But I've never actually had a developer pop in and watch their game get streamed. Probably because no one's ever even heard of me. Not exactly GDQ, where the devs specifically set up a thing so they can watch their game get speedrun, you know what I mean? Treason. Treachery. How did the cultists time their invasion so well? How could their magics work past the crystal wards? How could they kill everyone so fast? What is this, the Zanley Parable? Violent Edition? Oh, I'd play that. Yeah, the bucket. The bucket. No. I've got a shark. I've got a shark. I don't need a bucket. That's what I have to say about your bucket. So I'll have 3 pounds of the hawk. And, you know what? Can I just have the whole belly? Just the whole thing? Thanks. Delicious ammo. And some armor, which, at this point, let's be honest, I probably need. Day 239 from Captain Dura. Valk is under attack. Our crystal barriers must have fallen somehow, since the invading force is using powerful magical portals to bypass our outer defenses. I've linked up with Captain Beza and the rest of the garrison. We are outnumbered and barely holding the apartments. We don't have enough supplies to survive a siege, so we decided to split up. I'll take 6 bear warriors and rush to aid the lancers guarding the crystal heart, since that's our grand duty. The plaza path is blocked, so our best shot is to move the forge and use the portal there to rally at the Heart's Guardians. Beza will stay here with the goblins and hold the barracks, at least try to slow the new waves down. A sentence has been added at the bottom by someone else. The ink hasn't dried. We ran out of ammo. It's not even fair. Beza's dead. I have nowhere to fall back to now. Remember us. Okay. And that would explain the shotgun, which I just picked up. So, here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to make a Matrix sequel, right? But it's going to be really boring, and it's going to specifically involve constant references to the original in ways that are ham-fisted and bad, as sort of a take that at the studio, which just wants a new sequel in order to squeeze some cash out of the franchise. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Red. Normally, I wouldn't want you to, legitimately, but I'm just right now, and it's taking a lot of my attention just to pay attention to the game so I can review it properly, so I can actually give it a fair shake. I have to admit, on the one hand, I'm not impressed with the textures, for example, but on the other hand, I'm impressed with the textures. Because, like, they're properly pixelated. There's no blurring going on, which I do appreciate. And generally speaking, they're distinct enough that, you know, at a glance, you can tell what you're looking at. It's the Dragon Quest thing, right? You can always tell that's ground, that's plant, that's tree, that's wall, that's cave. But on the other hand, I do think there is a little bit too much repetition going on in the brickwork. You can actually see the pattern in the texture very, very obviously just looking at it right there. So, on the one hand, yay! On the other hand, I don't know. Yeah, that might be a good way to put it. The quality's decent, but the variety is a little lacking. Granted, we're on stage 3, so, you know, grain of salt. And I do think the lighting is an interesting choice, because on the one hand, it makes things look less distinct, but on the other hand, I can generally see what I'm looking at, so that's nice. Stick thing. Because they want stick thing here. Mr. Red's lying to me. We're just going to interact with everything. Oh, there. Okay. Wow. I really did not see that. Actively. And you can see why. I always feel bad about criticizing games like these, though. I'm still going to do it because, A, it's my job, but B, I don't want to do the game a disservice. But I still always feel bad about it. Whatever that means. Okay, what in the world? Ugh! Let me in. Let me in! Oh, come on, Laura. You can do this. You can go into a door that you've already been into. There we go. Alright. Down. Down. There we go. Hey. Down, get. It's the most difficult thing I've ever done. Going into a thing. Damn demons. Why couldn't they just leave us alone? We just wanted to conquer in peace. We will never be slaves. Ow. I'm gonna stop doing that now. But we will be conquerors. So these appear to be Ricochet rocket launcher. It bounces off of shields. Good to know. And we're dead. Anyways, thank you, Baron, very much. I do appreciate that support. No, there's definitely F-Zero music by default in this game. a remix of F-Zero music. By me. Caution, usually, Black Malkin. Copywrong has gotten extraordinarily bad, so generally speaking, I will always err towards the side of caution, rather than trying to just trust that a particular game will be fine. It's fine, everything's fine, and then have the VOD hit or my channel struck because of, you know, nonsense. And yes, fresh reminder that music license labels are a cancer upon society and upon people as a whole, and honestly should probably be erased from existence. Yeah, you know what? Actually, Zelda's a good example of what we were just talking about. Also, what? Fucking elementals, I swear to God. And now, when they were forced to watch the ruins of their civilization, both dwarves and minotaurs understood there was no more place for petty quarrels. Only now were their eyes opened as they were forced to gaze on the smoldering ruins of their once great hometown. But alas, 'twas too late. The few who survived the demon invasion were scattered throughout Hedon's caverns, forced to live like scrawny nomads, struggling to survive day by day. No longer did they have the will to fight each other, knowing how the demons used the seed of subterfuge to divide and conquer them. The incompetent and corrupt leaders were already dead. It was time for the strong to take the lead once more, and those new leaders had a great thirst for vengeance, great enough to forge an alliance with the ones they once despised. Now both dwarves and minotaurs stand by the same purpose, to fight the demons and rebuild their fallen prosperity. And here the Iron Division orcs make them an offer. Death to the demons, and to the living. As it should be. Be over here. I die as I lived. These are just my friends now. That's just the rest of the game. These are the buckets of this game.
This is the story of a half-orc named Zanley and her turret. Wherever she went, so did the turret, held fast in her strong blue arms. They were inseparable. Her with her massive guns, as well as her arsenal of weaponry, and the turret with its bloops and bleeps. Zanley loved her turret so much that she went to the forge to have it upgraded. Wait, where are you going? Zanley, get back to the anvil. We need to get back to the story now, Zanley. Zanley, wait! Good 3D platforming wasn't invented until 1996. No, Zanley, please, no! Oh, for crying out loud, I hate this game! Why? I swear I jumped, you little tag nut of a space bar! I've had enough of this piece of garbage engine. I hate it so goddamn much. Ah! Zanley, I'm sorry. I'm just at the end of my rope. I'm so tired. If you would just listen to me, you and your turret can finally get the happily ever after you deserve. Zanley? What are you doing? You're scaring me, Zanley. No, please, Zanley. I didn't mean it. I swear the next story will be better. Just please, give me more time, Zanley. No! No!
Make sure our RNG is set nice and proper. Here, let's put it back here. Let's fail to jump. Very important. Very important. We're testing to make sure the jump button doesn't work if it doesn't work. It's all part of it. It's all part of it. Hello. Yep, in the face. Exactly where I prefer explosions, personally. I don't really feel explosions unless they're right in my face. You gotta get the full, you know, the full effect of it right there. die! Jesus Christ. The vibe I'm getting right now is... there's this area, it's moderately advanced, mostly magically, somewhat technologically. There are at least 5 races we know about. The humans, which we know nothing about. The Minotaurs, which we know very little about. The elves, which we know nothing about. The orcs, that's us, and the dwarves. And we know that the dwarves, orcs, and minotaurs do not exactly get along particularly well, at least partially because of demons and demon infiltration, which tends to be a thing for some reason. So everyone hates the demons, and so everyone was kind of not really cool with each other, and had been advancing in their own particular arts to kill each other until they realized it was the demons behind it. So orcs took advantage of the fact that they came to the realization, now we have 3 iron ore, and decided, you know what? I've got an idea. Let's go kill do you like killing demons? And everyone just kind of shared, they bonded together over their shared love of killing demons. It's Heroes of Might and Magic 5 all over again, is what I'm trying to say here. Okay. Happened, but I'll live with it. I'll live with it. I'll die with it. I'll die with my decision. Like a true orc would. See? You gotta die with your decisions. Well, we were doing okay. Thank you, turrets. See, the turrets are better than the buckets in every way, I'm just saying. These things have had my back the entire level. Just the demon cultists, Mr. Red. Everyone else is, you know, they're fine. They're fine. Unless all humans are demon cultists? Alas. A lot of alasses. The park greets her with the sound of restless insects and the dark chill of what may lie ahead. Well, that's okay, because I have the bucket. My one true friend. Well, I mean, other than Mr. Red, obviously. But, you know. Well, a few things I'm debating. But right now I'm willing to give several positives for visual storytelling, sound design, mechanics of the logs, and the plot moving in front of you mechanic and the way that's been progressing. On the gameplay axis, we've got the tutorial stage, which was actually a pretty good tutorial stage, the environment changing, the save system, the map, everything else I'm debating. The lack of a quest journal, which has already been a problem, and honestly, the town level and the lava level both have some guidance and flow issues, in my opinion, which I suppose answers your question, Mr. Ed, of what I think of the previous stages. I didn't care for them. I am still debating positives for the difficulty design. Obviously, we need to do proper tests of that at some point. Itemization, enemy placement and counter design, enemy variety, the turret, viscerality, and gun variety. In other words, kit. I'm not sure what I think of the inventory. It's a nice little idea. But this is, I don't know. I'm not a super fan of this. You notice I've just kind of stopped using it because it's like, eh. We do have a magic ring, apparently. So I spent pretty much all the time during my lunch break processing, thinking, eating, laying down, closing my eyes, thinking some more. Here's my thoughts. First of all, I'm going to expand on the previous things. I am going to go ahead and give 2 additional positives and 3 additional negatives. And there's other stuff I'm still debating. So let's just put that up to 7 and 6 respectively. So let me try to talk this out a little bit here. And please bear with me. Like I said, I'm sick. I've got cotton in the brain. It's hard for me to even breathe right now because my nose is completely clogged. What this let's give the generic thing. What this feels most like to me so far is someone who wanted to make an RPG in the Doom engine. And in that respect, it's actually working pretty well. I do think there are limitations of the engine that are holding it back. They're all small, but they're all there, and they're all just kind of little irritations. Like, the range on which you can interact with something is probably one of the most consistent but weird little irritations that the game has for me. I feel like the narrative it's telling is actually surprisingly engaging. It's probably one of the things that's catching me the most. The enemy variety is admittedly a little bit lacking. I was actually processing and thinking about it, and so far I'd say we've encountered a grand total of 2 different types of enemy varieties in terms of how they're structured and how they're designed. Obviously, we're really early in the game, and I don't want to judge that too harshly. I will say the enemy placement has actually been quite good. There's been very clear and careful thought about who goes where and why with regards to making areas or arenas interesting. But it doesn't have what I can only refer to as the Doom polish when it comes to those key and critical elements of an FPS. Encounter design, to put it simply. I talk about this so much when it comes to FPSs. I've talked about this recently when it came to Ion Fury, and of course Doom 64, which was a game that just kind of nailed a lot of the Doom standards of quality. But having said all that, I sat and tried to process some of the game and was replaying some of the levels in my head. And obviously I have, I think you're right, Black Malkin. Obviously I have some issues with certain areas, and I've had certain issues with certain areas. But when I really sat and processed what was bothering me, other than the fact that I was just having trouble thinking straight, it was almost entirely down to 2 things. There's an insistence upon trying to make an area that looks cool, so good visual design, in other words, from a storytelling perspective, that doesn't quite work from a game design perspective. Like, there's elements and aspects of several rooms I could point to where I feel like they look cool, but it actually gets in the way of actually progressing through the room, which leads me immediately to my actual and by far biggest complaint I have about the game so far, which might actually blossom into multiple negatives depending on how we think about this, and that is the fact that the platforming in this sucks. Now, I'm sorry for sounding so harsh about that, because I do want to make it clear that, you know, this is actually a much better game than it is not. This is definitely going to be a net positive game, unless it somehow starts torpedoing towards the end. But the way that jumping works in this engine kind of sucks, and the way that the level terrain and level design is designed to try and encourage regular and frequent platforming is not great. The other big negative I have, the other big complaint, yeah, it's Doom. It's Doom platforming, right? It's not even really the game's fault. It's Doom platforming. But the other big complaint I have is a lack of indicative of interactables. Now, there are some indicators, just to prove that I'm actually paying attention. For example, when you have the mecha doors, the thing in the middle is lit up, so you can tell that that's a door you can interact with. Or when you've got a door like the one right in front of me there, the filigree, the inlay, is a little bit brighter when it's a door that you can actually interact with. But there's several other things, mostly quest items or objects, or like puzzle buttons you're supposed to hit, where there's not really a lot of indicator that you can interact with it, or can't interact with it, or have already interacted with it. There's not enough feedback, is what I usually call that, visual feedback, to indicate this is a thing, this can be a thing, this is no longer a thing. The 3 states, right? Now, having said all of that, I do think, sorry, I got all tabbed to double check my notes here. I do think that it is doing several things quite well. Ironically, the gun that I am most impressed with so far is the one I've been using the least, and that's the one I have equipped right now, which is the shotgun. Shotgun plus flamethrower is kind of awesome, and I'm actually rather amused by that. The guns so far have been good, you know, single positive good. I will also say that the very nature of something like this thing right here sounds awesome. Being able to essentially put down a field of dye is a very useful trait for something like this. And I'm down for that, right? Like, this is something I hope to play around with a little bit more to try out. This is interesting because it's literally a ricochet rocket launcher. So I've been a little bit hesitant to use it considering how low on health I've been consistently. But this has been good. This has been good. The axe is surprisingly good. There's decent damage behind the axe. It's only really limited by range, so I'm not sure what to think about that one. And when I say range, let me try to explain this. I'm sure someone smarter than me can explain this, but it feels like as it does this, it's actually doing damage per frame or something like that. Because if I get right up on someone and swing, they're dead. But if I'm back here and only do like a single swipe or whatever, they're not. They don't take as much damage. So I'm feeling like there's some additional damage as the axe is passing through. I'm not sure of the specifics. This is just going off of observation here. But either way, guns are good. Guns are good. Visuals are good, like I said, in terms of storytelling. I haven't thought of any negatives to story so far. I love the fact that the plot is progressing ahead of us, which is a great way to do cutscenes in a game that can't do cutscenes. I guess that's actually it for right now. I just wanted to kind of talk out a lot of my thoughts and try to prove that I'm actually doing my job and paying attention to the game in question as I am trying to figure out what's going on. Savicom, you didn't give me a backup. Savicom. Oh, but I want to talk out one more thing really quick here. I was talking about the platforming. So off camera, you may have noticed I actually did this. I just hit this button, and I just wanted to play around with it, having a little bit more of an idea of what I was doing. And this is actually a pretty decent tutorial level right here, right? We got this, an enemy pops out, it drops your next upgrade. You've got 2 health items, which get you right back up to max. You've got a thing right there which explains how running works. If you've got running jumps, you get through an area. A couple more items, an ammo refill, if you happen to need it. A couple of relatively easy enemies, which fall before you very quickly, but give you an idea of how spawning works. We figure out how to interact with people. Cool, you know, all this is cool. Then we progress over here. And my point is, this is actually pretty well designed for the most part, right up until here. The moment I have to start platforming. And the first thing that happened when I was trying to do this last time is I fell off right there. Then I entered this room and fell off immediately. And getting back up in here is just kind of a pain because these things actually have collision, which I didn't realize until about 20 minutes ago. And this is making my point right here in a nutshell. The overall level design is good, except when it includes platforming, and I could say the same about most of the levels we've been through thus far. Get a hard save here. We're done. Save. Save. Save! Oh, okay. There was a game I was trying to think of the name of, and of course I can't. No, turret, you were my only friend. I accept death. I don't know how to get across my mentality. I feel like I'm sounding too negative, so let me be clear about this. This is definitely a net positive game. I'm just trying to point out the things that aren't positive. Does that make any sense? I hope that makes some kind of sense. So this is what I mean by good... this is actually guidance and flow of exploration right here in a nutshell. See that glow? Yeah. So you can see that glow from over here, and it caught my eye earlier. That's guidance and flow of exploration. If anybody ever wonders what I mean by that, if anybody wonders why I say that, something like that, it's, hey, something designed to draw your attention in a specific way, for good, bad, or in between. Something that I consider to be critical in most game design, but most especially Metroids, or Metroidvanias. There we go. Shit. Didn't go up straight. A lot of Elven runes. Gotta have a lot of Elven runes. Very important. If you don't have Elven runes, you don't have anyone to blame all your problems on when the Ancient Evil gets released. Okay, that was funny. Gotta get some air going on here. Let's kill some people. It's okay, they're demon cultists. Demon cultists don't legally count as people, so we can kill them freely. This is a good example of what I was talking about. You see that handle? See the difference? So there are some indicators of what you can interact with. The rest of this is purely cosmetic. I will admit that's not very good at a glance, but it is there. And, you know, so that's not a negative. Oh, and by the way, there is actually one last MLP video going live, for those wondering. Hello! I won't waste this ammo on that bundle. I'm gonna use this ammo on that bundle. Hi! Remember, if you follow demons, are you a demon cultist? This could be your fate if you are a demon cultist. That used to be Jimmy. Jimmy got a C in his geology test, and he decided the only path for him was demon culture. Don't be like Jimmy. Study your geology tests. And I think Savicon was actually present for some of this discussion, or at least tangentially aware of it. Hello. Oh, I'm out of fuel. Aww. I'm out of fuel. I'm all sad now. I was burning people alive. It was brilliant. I'm just gonna make them poisoned to death. Anyways, rather than, hello. Where did you come from? Where did you both come from? Where did you all come from? Didn't I kill everyone here already? Jeez Louise. Rude. Damn it, you're right, Blade Turtle. I forgot to lock the door. Damn it. Let this be a lesson. Always lock your door before you go plundering the depths of demonic cultists. Or else this will happen to you. Sorry, I didn't mean to start about Star Trek. Please don't kill me, Mr. Red. Don't do it. Okay, fine, you can do it. This is Mr. Red right here. Oh, that's what I think of you, Mr. Red. Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot! You killed me, Mr. Red! How could you? I was actually body blocked. I enjoy them burning to death way too much. And yes, the Tellarites, specifically, will be the early Fed members who effectively invent Replimatter. Not evil, but I love watching them burn to death. I love listening to them burn to death, too. Here, listen. Yeah, it's this thing called a website. And that's what happens to people who don't know I have a website. Don't be like those people. Very... Yep. We're gonna figure this out. We're gonna use the brains. This happened. So much brain usage, you don't even know. What? I was just literally mashing E randomly. This is what I mean by the interactable thing. I'm sorry, what indicates that I can interact with that thing versus everything else? I'm gonna find it, it's gonna be so good. Maybe that one on the floor. It wasn't that one on the floor, something happened. What? Okay. There! Jesus, that was way harder to do than it should be. You want me to put the rat in the cauldron? Okay. I didn't do anything. Come here, rat. You're mine now. That's a good question. I don't know. Is there a practical application to catching these things? It's looking at me like, what? I'm getting hungry just looking at them. So hungry. I give myself to the water. I give myself to the television. To no avail, apparently. Thanks. Why is the ground, doing that? I mean, I've been eating the mushrooms this whole game, so, you know. Nothing is drug trippy. Everything's fine. I've got everything completely under control. I don't know what y'all are worried about. What? Damn it, it's Stanley Parable all over again. Such a leap of faith. Well, you know. Is that or die? Kind of like that, actually. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that to actually work. I was just trying things. Whoops. Did you know the siege was where it would all come to an end? Maddened with corruption, your own forge elementals have turned against you. A sudden and deadly betrayal. They struck down your siege weapons and supplies as demons grinned from behind dark gates. By the time you repelled the attack, your fate had already been sealed. You could not advance nor retreat. Your only hope was to wait for the supply line to send help, but alas, the transports met the same fate. Let the elementals turn on us, though. We've always enslaved them so well! Sorry. It's an elf! Damn it! I knew they were behind this! Fucking knife ears. Mithril is her name. She's behind the invasion of your stronghold. Frickin'... Way too much spread fire right in the face. She just chain casts it too. And couldn't help but wonder if any of that was actually real. Nah. Just all the LCD. Ugh, the surface. I hate the surface. I give up on... Oh. Jumped to my death. Damn it. I literally can't. There's an invisible wall. No! Well, he's dead. Mr. Ed, you know this game. When's the next time an in-game song is going to play? Never mind. Don't the orcs, like, venerate the elemental lords or whatever? That this is Dragania. Which just brings the question up even more. Why did they decide to turn on us? Unless this is like Gridania, in which case, never mind. All questions rescinded if this is just Gridania. Sorry, I'm muted. Where do they get all these humans? Turning to cultists. Are there just that many humans who are just like... You know, I don't have anything better to do with my Tuesday. Anyone want to worship some demons? They're like, you know, I don't know. I mean, maybe? Well, I mean, yeah, Bob from accounting, he's just... Every frickin' meeting, he's like, hey, can we give in to the demons? It's like, Bob, no. Nobody wants to give in to the demons but you. Next week, can we give it? No, Bob. God. But they give me spikes. I know they give you spikes, Bob. The rest of us don't like spikes, Bob. I'm not reading that out loud. I'm probably wrong about this, but you know what it feels like? It feels like whoever made this was trying to learn how the tools work. Are you joking me? How the tools work, how the engine works, how the level design and the trigger placement, all that stuff works. And that's the first few levels. Then, they figured out how the tool works, how the toolkit works, how the modules work, the plugins and all that kind of stuff. And then they made the level we just did, Errant something. Errant Signal, that was it. Because I noticed that this level is already much better designed in terms of structure and flow than most of the previous ones have been. And that's also normal. Generally speaking, you tend to get better at something the more you practice at it. To use a very banal example, if you watch my World of Lorecraft series, plug, you'll notice that the earlier episodes set in the Burning Crusade are noticeably and substantially worse than the ones in Wrath, which are worse than the ones in Kata. Hey look, here's a chapter that I totally read. Boop. Damn it. Well, that was all for nothing. It was all for nothing!
If you can make it through the rocket test labs, you might be able to worm your way through the old tunnels to track down whatever's left of the Lambda team. You can trust them. You can trust all of us. Good luck.
Go for the eyes, Boo! Go for the eyes! Okay, it was worth it. Right, but not the left. That's even more confusing. Press all the buttons. Anyways. My one true friend. You came back for me! No. I could give you a real answer. Give me a minute. Think about this. Because, like, one of the things that tends to bother me... There's two big things that tend to bother me the most. One is how that's an elf. The other is how... It's getting shot at. Oh, I see what's happening. One is the fact that they tend to... learn the wrong lesson, or throw out the baby with the bathwater, however you want to properly phrase that, right? Just noping your way completely out of the situation. Oh, well, we tried that and it didn't work, therefore we're going to give up forever. The other thing, yeah, no kidding, Luca. The other thing would probably be, for instance, A really common trend amongst an inordinate amount of video game designers is when they self-sabotage their own games, and then the game doesn't sell well, so they self-sabotage it even more. This is actually true for a lot of things, not just video games, obviously. I'll just go back to TOS Season 3 as a perfect example of this. Good job, TOS Season 2 is doing well. Pat on the back all around. Alright, we're going to need you to do Season 3 on an even smaller budget than you were last time. What? This is extraordinarily common in game development specifically. It is really, really common that no, you can't have more money. No, we can't change the release date. No, we're not going to allow you to... What the hell is that nonsense? No, we're not going to allow you to change some of our ridiculous and pedantic requirements. Oh, and if you want more budget, sucks to be you. Oh, it didn't sell well. Well, we're going to pull the plug on that franchise because it didn't sell well. Yeah, exactly, Mr. Red. I was to say, I bet almost everyone here can name at least one video game franchise that has had self-sabotage in its construction, and then the plug was pulled as a result. It's not that hard. It happens all the freaking time. I suppose if I was to summarize my thoughts on that, I would say, and I know this is a little polemic, but whatever, I'm sick. That's my excuse, I'm sick, I can say whatever I want to. Sequel trilogy sucks, it's okay, I'm sick. I think one of the biggest problems that a lot of things can be tied back to is the idea that making money is more important than anything else. Priority list, I've talked about that before, priority list. You want to make money? Fine, that's cool. That makes sense. Bills to pay, you know. Maybe you want to get a few things. Maybe you want to make more money than you do. Improve your livelihood. That's a logical outcome, right? But, if that's the most important thing in your life, or your job, then you tend to think that other things can take a back seat to it. And that leads to crap. Ect, here's your question, says, do you think music in lean... Do you use... Apparently turning into Simlish here. Well, it looks like the cultists, didn't have, much luck. Tracks. They don't seem known for their brains so far. And they are demon cultists. You figure if anybody's going to be an idiot, it's going to be that group, right? No! His name was Loaderbot. You know, you guys aren't wearing shirts in this weather. How are you not frozen? Now, funny part, some of them are frozen. Well, yeah, but Zen has abs, Evo. He just kind of... and then the cold just goes away. But the priests are not the only ones to assist the Dwarven Lord. Among his advisors are the masters of the 4 guilds. The practical knowledges are essential in upholding Dwarven society. The Blacksmith Guild is composed of miners, smiths, and jewel crafters, all able to turn the lifeblood of dry rock into weapons, armaments, and various mechanisms and other mechanical wonders. The Carpenters Guild fosters woodcutters, locksmiths, leatherworkers, and tinkerers, able to shape the forest into a precise tool. Their ballistae and catapults are feared all across the battlefields. The Stonemasons Guild trains master builders and engineers, be it wells, keeps, towers, or bridges. The Singers of Stone are responsible for the backbone of our life and society, as well as our advancement. The Brewers Guild spreads our name across the land with their chefs, healers, and alchemists. It's also known that they dabble in the less honorable art of espionage, but their skill may be needed at times. Well, when I first tried sushi, all I knew was that it was raw fish. And then I died. Ugh. Oh, you son of a submariner. Yeah, you get to burn to death. Did that used to be a dwarf? No, did that pop out of a dwarf? Hey, yeah, I think that popped out of a dwarf. Or used to be a dwarf. They're both options. Yeah, that's what it is. Do you want me to shoot you? Asking for a friend. At last she's back into the mountain's bowels, close to the crystal heart, even closer to the betrayer. Illidan? Dude. Plus to story, Illidan's in this game. Like, I'm pretty sure she's just holding that candle, but does anyone see that statue flipping me off? So, I suppose my opinion of the game is kind of weird. I hesitate to give it without Mr. Red here so he can tell me how terrible and stupid I am. So far, I'm not really impressed with the gameplay of the game. The level layout is far more composed from a theatrical perspective than a design perspective. That's fine in its own right, but the overwhelming majority of areas are clearly meant to be set pieces for the narrative, rather than, you know, a level we're going through. And again, that's fine, but I have found several times... I'm not kidding right now. Where I found myself thinking, okay, like when we were fighting to hold off the hordes on the portal. Narratively, that's an interesting scene because it's your typical hold the line mission from StarCraft, right? Oh god, the Zerg are coming. But gameplay-wise, there was nothing actually engaging about that particular sequence, especially since the overwhelming majority of enemies in this game are functionally the same. So, cool narratively, not really interesting gameplay-wise. Sense make? So, to answer your question, I am actually digging the narrative pretty well so far, and I like the direction it's going, and I actually want to know what happens next. But gameplay-wise, I'm getting very close to just going ahead and using the walkthrough that Mr. Red himself offered me, and just kind of getting through it, you know? Okay, that is a lot of text, which I am super not reading out loud. Okay, fine. Hang on. Give me a second. Day 188. No! That wretch Zura denied my project. Dangerous? I don't expect anyone but her to have such ineptitude. She's supposed to bring my ideas to the council. No. I will see the Lancers myself tomorrow. They will see beyond the veil. They're much smarter than Zura. They do not fear the future. Day 189. I cannot believe... the feeling, 2 weeks and they set off to their doom. They'd rather throw themselves at death than take my plan into consideration. For the first time I saw it in their eyes. Yes, fear. They fear all my ideas. They fear the creation of the perfect warrior. A warrior that would surely overthrow these weaklings. Zura knows it too. Oh, I understand now. That snake wants to steal my work and take Valk over. Day 190. Oh, the swine. She asked the council to remain in Valk during the campaign, further her weapon research. What a worthless lie. I can already feel her coming from my work. Oh, the voice. The sweet cure. I passed out in the middle of the working of the dark fumes. Her words were soothing. An elf. A beautiful, pale elf. I thought they had been all eradicated by the demons. Yes, she hated the demons with such passion and had been watching me for so long. Rip. Day 196. It's been almost a week and Zura still hasn't approached me. I have no time for her nonsense. Nithriel will help me fulfill my research. Yes, she still talks to me in my dreams, words so old and true. And only I can help her crush the demons. All while my ignorant sisters litter the battlefield. Mithril is right. Today it all begins. Day 197. They're beautiful. And Zura still hasn't noticed the missing goblins. No, she was not there to see my dear crawlers rise from their worthless flesh. Yes, I could see them swarm hell itself, just like in the dreams. Yeah, so there's our confirmation that those crawlers, that would be the worm things, come out of people. Still not clear if they are the people in question, but, you know. I can hear them marching from here. Cluck, cluck, cluck. How dare they disturb my quiet sewer? Oh, they're leaving Vulk. The mighty Iron Division and their dim-witted allies heading for the meat grinder. This means I can finally fulfill the next part of Mithril's plan. Day 203. I can finally spend more and more time on my work now that the clinic barely gets any visitors. I've lost count of how many sleepless nights I've toiled here in the dark. No dreams, yet I can still hear it. Her words guide me. The crawlers were mere child's play. Now it's time to create the perfect warrior. The third entry is almost a month apart. The writing is significantly shakier and harder to read. This is it. Zura knows for sure now. She's noted my absences. Oh, she knows for sure. She knows about those missing fixers. Oh, yes. She'll have me killed as soon as I finish the project. Then she'll claim it for herself. But Nithril knows, too. Tonight, Zura will bow to me, and I'll leave to turn the parapet ward off. Yes, enough dreams. Nithril wants to see me in person, and the crawlers aren't working fast enough for her. Thanks, Nith. You freak. What? Oh, I sense a firefight soon. Very soon. It cannot be. My children. Stupid, stupid, stupid. She jumped from a ledge to her own death. This is how they reward me for dulling their sense of pain? Carelessness. They think they can fly now? Stupid. Day 242. They are angry. No matter how hard I try, they fail to respect their mother. Traces of their precursor self. Oh, how they struggle. Silly dolls. You have long transcended individuality. You are part of the web now. You need to have a word with Nith, I think. Because, yeah. You know, I keep comparing this game to System Shock, too. Maybe it's a little bit more literal than I thought. No! I'm dead. Well, this is one way for things to go. Oh, hi, Payoth. Kinda thought you'd forgotten about me. Mithril has found me. She dampened my strength. You're close, but I cannot guide you any longer. Hold on to your breath. Someone's about to redeem herself. Get me out of here. Please. Please. We are half demon, half orc, Mockingbirds. I don't actually know much other than that. Well, there's Zura. There's Lith. Oh, that's a lot of things. Nope, nope, nobody do. Nobody do. Oh my god. Everybody burns. Everybody burns. Yeah, I sort of thought that would happen. So before I forget again, check this out. This is actually kind of cool. There's a DLC for this game, right? It doesn't really get you anything. Now you're probably thinking, what? But hear me out for a second. I think this is cool. Rather than lock the new content of the new expansion or map packs or whatever behind the DLC, instead, that's free. You just get that with the game. But if you want to support the developer, you can buy the DLC to support the developer. I think you get like some cosmetic stuff, like, you know, soundtrack and visuals, you know, design book, whatever. But I think that's kind of cool, personally. And I told Mr. Red when we started this I was going to debatinate if I was going to buy that based on the quality of the game. And so far I'm leaning towards going ahead and grabbing it again, just to support. Let's grab some air. That's not air. Oh god, turn around. Don't drown. Sounds like a game name, doesn't it? Don't drown. We've already had Don't Starve. Yes, actually, that would just be Subnautica, wouldn't it? There's a game I'm looking forward to replaying. Holy crap. I hope it's at least half as good as I remember. If it is, I'm pretty sure it's going to review really well. Emblem somewhere. Found the emblem. You got this. Once we assist you. Don't die. Don't die, don't die, don't die. They're still alive, they're still alive. Okay, okay. Mission is currently accomplished. We're still alive? Everyone's alive.
I'll protect his wisely, so...
Now we got 4 people following us. Jeez Louise. We've got a lot of people to keep alive right now. Thank God there's no friendly fire. Could you imagine? Be gone, elf. The disc won't bring you anything but doom. Your barrier won't last forever. Orc. The only doom here will be upon you. Doesn't have to last forever. I've got some friends at my side. And a very obvious boss arena. Oh, well, so do I. The final boss. Which is somebody who probably needs to go on a diet. Okay. Started late too, Mr. Ed, because I am not doing great. Yes, as you can see, dealing with a dude out here. Ah, wow, okay. My hand up WASD for like 5 seconds, and that was the end of that. Listen, if this doesn't look perfectly, Mr. Red, you're fired. From something. I don't know what. I'll figure it out. I'm gonna hire you, and give you a job, and then fire you. I'm gonna fire you out of a cannon into the sun. It's not gonna be pleasant. It's kind of cool for a minute. Such a display of might, demon blood. I'm really sad. We kept all 4 of our companions alive all the way to the final boss. And then they all died in the final boss. Oh well. But Zahn was hell-bent on not letting her get away, driven by a swift impulse. Some might call that reckless. She plunged into the closing wormhole, following Nithriel into places unknown. Dun dun dun. To be continued never. Or in like 10 seconds. Both Zahn and Tiati seem to have disappeared without a trace, leaving many questions behind. Is cereal a soup? Does melted chocolate taste just the same? Is a hot dog really a sandwich? Most importantly of all, does it care? Lancer Dendro is ordered to return to her base and ensure the functioning of the anti-magic pool. Her time split between burying her sisters and standing at the edge of the mountain, watching, waiting, wondering why the moon is exploding in the background. But as tunnels were cleared, stragglers were rescued, and bodies were buried, time seemed to flow slower. Then questions began to arise. What happened to the campaign against the demons? No messenger had arrived. Why was the disc artifact so important to Nithriel? How could it change the future? And where did Zahn go? And who's this random person? End of Hedon 1. The Crystal Heart. What? Huh? Okay. They've got boxed crates of corruption. That's cool. That's cool. That's horrible. Horrible. Very horrible. God damn it. I can't get away from Elden Ring. No matter what I do. Even in D&D last night, I couldn't get away from Elden Ring. Seriously. So, I've been thinking about the game, and obviously the gameplay axis is, as usual, what tends to interest me most. And the game really does have an over-reliance on platforming. I don't want to sound too negative, but it's probably the single biggest negative for the entire game for me, is the platforming. And that's just Doom at that point, isn't it? Doom platforming, you know? Nothing else need be said. The Iron Division banner? Well, this is an unusual sight. We must be in one of the cult towns. There's Cult Town? Oh, personal space. I'm not familiar with the invasion plans, but our sisters have certainly run this place through the blade. Cult Towns. What is it, CNC Generals? Looks like ancient human dialect. Let's see. Honky tonk badonk. I can't make anything of this archaic language. A lively fireplace. Ready up, warrior. This place isn't deserted at all. It's time to kill us some humies. Filthy, stinking human swine. I'm not even sure what blood is. I'm sorry, Black Balkan. Anyone would know. Keep the upper courtyard grates closed. Anyone who disturbs us gets 100 lashes. Nice place. I like it. I like it. I've decided to murder all of these people. Just all of them. Oh, I think this is a good game too. I just think it's got its issues. As I've said many, many times, as much as I would probably hate to have someone like me reviewing my own game, the fact of the matter is, if I was to not review it the way I did, I honestly think I would be doing the game a disservice. Like, if I was just sitting here licking Mr. Red's feet the entire time, and praising the game left and right, I would actually be, in my honest opinion, I would be doing this game a disservice. I'd be doing Mr. Red a disservice. I'd be doing Hedondev a disservice. I don't agree with doing that. My overall opinions haven't really changed so far in Bloodrite. The game is much more focusing on the story axis, for good and for bad. There's this game called Lufia 2. I ain't here to spoil. They're just launching cultists at us. But in Lufia 2, Lufia 2 is a very deeply emotional story. It's a tragedy in many ways, but it's also kind of a reaffirming story, right? And I could see someone who could look at that, and because of how much it means to them, or because of its specific themes, or maybe because of when they played it in their life, or maybe because of there's like a connection to it, like maybe it's something they used to play with someone significant to them or whatever, the game would mean more to them than it deserves in its own right, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, really, as long as we acknowledge that. FF6 has, in a very literal way, saved my life. So I tend to hold FF6 a bit higher than other games, even though upon review, I don't think it'll actually be at the top slot. I don't. Alright, I give up. Mr. Ed, where's the stupid key? Just tell me. Just tell me where the key is. My brain is gone. Oh, hey, I found her, though. Her brain is gone, too, apparently.
My lances lead on. We've no time. We've no time. We've no time. I'll cover you with my lance.
Why do you have piles of treasure in a cult? You know what? I would throw the question. Want me to come up with a story negative? I'll try. Like, give me a minute. Let's see. The camera isn't right behind us, so we can admire our sexy, sexy ass. There you go. Perfect. Negative to everything. Oh my god, that is so awkward. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's terrifying. We're immediately turning that back off. Oh, thank god. Okay. Well, I will say the quest, wow. The brickwork in Hedon is superior to the brickwork in Quest 64 across the board. Your guide has actually been quite good. I will recommend it to anybody who wants it. Consequently, for anybody who wants it, Mr. Red has written a Steam walkthrough guide of the game that I'm currently playing. It's pretty good. I especially like the happy, fun party place. There you go. Say, I'll probably put a link to it in the VODs, or the room might actually be a better way for that. Would you quit it? I feel bad for the developer. I hope he's not watching. I hope to God he's not watching my stream. I would be so embarrassed if he posts. This is like one of the worst streams I've done recently, just because I'm so sick, you know. Trying very, very hard to be as analytical and as structured as possibly can, trying to have an ounce of charisma. Ah! Yeah, this is something I was talking about earlier. This admittedly sounds like a complaint, but really it's more of a positive thing. The amount of effort gone into making this look like an actual place is really impressive. It's been impressing me the whole game, but it's only been getting better each stage. This actually looks like it would be a mansion out in the middle of nowhere. Logs, stone, got a little courtyard, got the little thing over there, the hedge maze. Gotta have a hedge maze. Look at this. Like, I talk a lot about doodad design, but one of the other little details that is actually technically part of doodad design is terrain manipulation, trying to make terrain look more than boring, honestly. And these maps are nothing, anything if not boring. These are engaging. Like there's even you can even tell how the building was actually carved into the mountain, and how the mountain itself is partially like they've kind of carved out part of it in order to make room under here. You get the vibe that they're trying to make this approximate the overworld for whatever reason. Maybe there's some kind of thing going on with there. Like, there's so much implication, and that's the word I want to use. And yeah, lived in is a wonderful word for that, lived in. I've already given this game several pluses for visual storytelling, but I think I have to give something else for just the architecture, for lack of a better way to put it. I'm going to go ahead and jot that down. tab over to Mr. Red's excellent guide here. What do we got here? It says here, Dear Lore, if you're stuck at this point, you are the stupidest person on the face of the universe and should never have actually picked up this game, you moron.
Yours faithfully, Mr. Red. P.S. Donkey Kong Country show streaminations.
I mean, they're pretty cute. They can't eat someone's face off. I like a good rat that can eat someone's face off, you know? There's a bit of utility to it. I mean, they're stonecutters. I don't really need much more reason than that, Dark. Let's be honest with ourselves. It actually doesn't work as well as I thought it would, mostly because the combat's too infrequent for Doom music to really work. I can safely say that Doom music worked better for Quest 64 than it did for this. I don't know if you've ever seen it, Mr. Red. There's a web comic. It's just one comic. Link in Breath of the Wild, specifically. And he gets hit, right? And as he's flying back from the hit, he shoves like 5 separate dishes into his mouth, and then lands at full health. Like, I'm ready for more. And I get that vibe from Zahn, you know? Oh no, I'm injured. Okay. I got this. Okay, so that's all the books. Everything's done forever. Good to go. Shoot. Okay. Alright. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I have no idea where to go. It's your lucky day, Half-Blood. Your name was cleared of cowardice. Get up. Breeza wants to see you. By which I mean... No, it's it's Mr. Red's second level in the game. He usually plays this level second. Welcome back among us, Zahn. I must apologize for the harsh reception. Who is that on the right? No wonder... I hate you, Mr. Red. No wonder no messenger could reach back to Valk. Even the paths cleared by our army are now held by demons. I told Breeze all about Valk's siege. Can't say she was expecting any good news, but morale's taken a big hit. If only could link up with Valk, we'd have one last chance to land an unexpected blow against the demons. I've seen what these cultists are capable of. If we fail, these fanatics will have free reign over the underground. And then they'll just gamble and eat each other all day long. It'll be terrible. Yeah, that's exactly what I was just thinking of, Mr. Like, I say that flippantly, but that sounds horrible. You orcs know how to wield an axe. You fight with great might. That's why I respect you. That and your extremely smoking bods. No, Don't even think about getting in my way, you narrow-sighted brute. Only I have the power to challenge the Blue Baron. Look at you. Can't even use magic. And you're supposed to be Breeze's champion. Pathetic. I am your only hope. Sure thing, Vegeta. Look, could you buzz off? I have 6 lumps of dark iron in your pockets. Oh, unless you have 6 lumps of dark iron in your pockets, you're useless here. Did we just get a quest? We just got a quest. Oh my god! We have a quest log. We have... What's you have to... And we can also trade ammo for iron ore. Well, I think we've officially transitioned into RPG at this point. Excuse me, we can use that ammo too, you know. Sorry, but it's my ammo now. Also, what she said just before that was, with ammo supplies dwindling, we'll have to adapt and improvise. Glad I used to work as a scavenger. Then I took all her ammo. Because it's mine. Let's be honest, I'm going to put it to better use than you are. No offense. So, I was part of the forest group. They sent me here to set up the roadblock to the mansion, but when I returned to check on them, they were gone, and cultists are looting our camp. I'll show you. Hey look, a quest log. This is apparently main quest. I don't know how he handles it. Anyways, so I was looking up who what gender Hedondev is, so I could say he or she, but obviously it isn't listed on the Twitter, so we're gonna go with they. So one of the things that I've said many, many times is I really wish I could actually reach out to certain developers and find out what they're thinking, you know, how they did, why they did, etc., etc. And of course, I usually don't actually have the availability to do that because I'm this dinky little spot on the internet that nobody's ever even heard of. So why would anyone ever acquiesce to an interview by me? People like Asmongold get interviews, not me. It's a damn shame though, because I do have one really big question for him, apparently. And I'm gonna go ahead and say it, because I wonder why this game, or I guess these games is a better way to phrase that, were made in this engine. Like what the original intent and purpose behind that choice was. That one. And I don't in any way mean that like a dig or an attack or a negative. It's just, it feels like this is a game that would be better suited to be made in a lot of other different modules I can think of. And so I was just curious what the thought process was. Like, why did you go with the Doom one, the DFX Doom or whatever, instead of anything else? Was it already free? You know, did he already have experience with it? Was it better for designing terrain? Was he designing terrain and then happened to flesh it out into a game? Like, I can think of lots of reasons. Which is exactly why I'm curious, because I can only speculate. The only other interview question I would have would be, you know, are you continuing the series? Because even now, having not finished Hedon 2, I want to see the series continue. We've already answered that one. Now, I'm not sure what is capable of being done here. Because it was accessible. See, that's actually one of the things I was wondering about, because this is free engine, too. And I've played with it like years ago. And it is certainly very user-friendly, too. That's why I was wondering. I was wondering why use this engine? Why go this route with it? I'm being told that you're actually going in a different route, a different direction with your third game. You don't have to answer that if you're keeping hush-hush about it. But I'm actually curious, because one of the things I myself find is that you get used to something and then you feel a little bit more confident, a little bit more, you know, the process, a little bit more of what you're doing. You start to branch out, right? Start to try other stuff. Let's make sure our poor fixer friend is still with us. Unity. Well, I wouldn't have suggested Unity, admittedly. Sorry. Good morning, Blade to all. See, that's fascinating. So now I feel put on the thing. I'd love to ask other questions, but it's like, oh god. Well, just while you're here, I know you don't give a damn about me or my opinion, but I just gotta say, I have to gush about your architectural design. I really do. One of the things I talk about a lot in game design is doodads, and you do really good, like, doodad design. Like, the houses and the mountains and the terrain look like actual houses and mountains and terrain. It really produces a wonderful feel, a wonderful vibe for the whole thing. So gush. If I could get across nothing else, I just wanted to say that really quick. Okay. The fanboy. I think I've given it 3, Mr. Red. I'll have to check the document. Although it's more for individual aspects thereof rather than the thing. But if this keeps up, I will absolutely give a second positive for what is effectively architectural design. Terrain. modification. There's damn good stuff. Like, look at this. Look at this. And it's used to tell a story, too, which is even more important. You know. Okay, this room isn't a great example, but we've seen previous examples where you go into a room and you could tell what was going on in the room. Just because of what was in the room. Just because of the visual layout and design of it. In the world. Oh, that's what's happening. The tree is a 2D object, so it's like melding into the terrain there. You say that, Django. I still haven't found God of War 3. I'm probably just gonna have to buy another one. So whatever. Well, I'm sorry, faithless zealot, for the insomnia. Speaking as someone who has issues sleeping, I sympathize. But I'm glad you enjoy my stuff, as terrible as it may be. Especially right now, when I'm having trouble just talking. Goodness. Being sick sucks. Do not recommend. You are always welcome to join us on stream, though, Faithless Zealot, if you happen to have the time or the inclination. We stream pretty often. I have a fairly full schedule. 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, and then another 5 hours on Sunday. Oh, see, you've already got my interest there. A stealth 'em up. That already sounds interesting. That also implies we wouldn't be playing as... Zan? Zon? It just occurred to me I've never actually clarified how to pronounce that. I'm trying not to pronounce it Zan, just because that's my sister's name, but... that just sounds weird, right? Well, it's my sister's username. The Dwarves! Oh, awesome. Yeah, there's a lovely stuff. Okay, so if you care at all, I'm sure you don't. I'm sure you don't. But if you care at all, there's so many things I want to learn more about. I want to learn about how the demons work. I want to learn about how the demons propagate and where they come from. And I want to learn about the overworld and what exactly caused this rush to the underground. And why the elves pieced out, all sorts of things. Maybe that stuff's answered this game. I don't know. I'm just sharing stuff that has really been catching my attention so far, because there's a lot of fascinating little peppered world building going on. Yeah, as much as I qualify this as an FPS, because it is an FPS, it kind of isn't. I said this as far back as episode 1, but I stand by it firmly now. This is an RPG or an exploration game. An adventure game, if you want the generic title. In the bones, in the vehicle of an FPS. I knew it! You just want to tease me. That's okay, I understand completely. I wasn't asking you to answer the question specifically. It's more like I just wanted you to know what interested me, because... it's the kind of question I ask about my own people. It's like, hey, what interests you in what I've done? Anyone in chat, if you want to answer too, what has interested you so far? Like, what do you want to learn more about? These people do not know how to defend a castle. Which makes sense, they're stupid cultists. Yeah, no, there's human kingdoms, Mr. Red. We got this. We got this. Maybe. We probably don't got this. We're about to die. We're totally dead. We just give up now. Just say, you know what, demons, you win. Do whatever. God, we don't even care. I mean, yeah, right? Like, they probably literally just like, there we go. And now we can see with the godly sight. This is Bloodborne all over again. We need eyes inside of our mind. Oh, that would be funny. If, like Bloodborne, someone somewhere was like, this is a minor spoiler for Bloodborne, but for those who are not aware, there's this bit where they're like, oh yes, you must have eyes inside your mind, but it was meant as a metaphor. But then these academics came along, and they're like, you know, that's it, that's how we'll gain greater sight. We'll make eyes inside of our brains. And so they did that literally. It didn't work out. So that would be funny if this cult got started, you know, forever ago. And they're like, yes, you must have the godly sight. And so they were like, oh, you mean literally? Got it. Ah! Yeah, so apparently this is where they gouge out their eyes. As you can see, there's the hot poker, and there's the, the eyes are up here. You missed a little bit. It's so peaceful. Just think this is what's going through our character's mind as we're brutally massacring all these people. Just... I mean, it's Meet the Pyro all over again. By the way, this is a brilliant idea. I'm just saying. I'm not even joking about that. I don't know how the heck you managed to code this to only show, like... I don't know how to explain it because I'm too sick and tired right now. But the ability to update this based on the scripting needs of which events are active and which are not had to have been irritating. but I've got a voice in my head telling me to turn around. So wait, Mr. Red was always a psionic demon? Yeah, no, that tracks. God damn. Ah! Sorry, everyone. Sorry. That's my bad. I spawned the demons. My bad. Aw. I was hoping one of them would say, why did you ring that stupid bell? No, not the cool glasses. You know of which I speak, Giga Pudding. It's this lava field. What? Oh god, I can't move. Well, this is my life now. Yeah, we need to rename that. You know, speaking as a voice director, I always feel weird when I think about the direction some actors get, you know. Alright, you've just been burned to death and are actively on fire. Go. What? Oh my god, the lava fall actually had collision. I wasn't expecting that. Although wait, can you kick the head in there too? Oh my god, that's hysterical. I'm an idiot. I didn't realize until about 3 seconds ago that that's an ammo belt. I thought it was like a sea urchin or something. So grab this, turn around, this way, pause, save, take two. I hate Forge Elementals so much. I love the sight of a fat pice. Give me a sec, I'll unpack them toilets for you. Why are you shady? I'll serve you well. Not as well as what I have here. A bag of Holden, 300 gold. Bit steep. Think of all the extra ammo. Oh my god, I need 300 gold. Where the hell am I going to get 3? Can I just kill her for it? Hang on. Give me the gold. Okay, damn it. Okay, right, fine. Okay, why would you station a shotgunner back there? Put the shotgunner up front. Okay, whatever. These people. No wonder the orcs are losing. They don't know what tactics are. Orf. Arf. Arf. So I turned to the Grand Ace. Arf. Where's my beetle stuff? God, I can do that voice really well right now with my throat as clenched as it is. We must find our way through this particularly lovely level. Oh, come on! Give me the gold! Give me the gold! I need the gold. Yeah! I'm not gonna get it. Although I did give your guide a boost on Steam, because it's a good guide. Well, actually, that's not true. It's the worst guide I've ever seen. But, when it's not the worst guide I've ever seen, it's actually the best guide I've ever seen. When you use pictures, it's a really, really good guide. When it's just text, it's not quite as good for me. But it is nevertheless what I would call a very good guide overall. No, he's fine. He's, the fish ate him. Yeah, we'll go with that. The fish ate him. Okay, hang on. I have seen, I believe, every James Bond film. Man, I really want to watch this, because I kind of need this right now. I just want to watch all these demons and cultists drown to death. Was that the new Switch sports game that just came out? Was random? Okay, so... some of them are not... There we go. Now they're active. But not all of them are active, and therefore not all of them are drowning. There you go. Wake up. And they're gone. All is well with the world. I can't help but notice I've lost my comrade in all this. Oh my god, she's right there. Okay then. We need to introduce her to a concept called a door, I think. And of course she won't teleport to me because she's not far enough away to trigger the teleport script, so that makes sense. So she's just hanging out up there like, yep. What? Ding, 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 ding. I'm helping! Ding, ding, ding. Oh, hey. We got far enough away from her. Welcome to the fight. Welcome to the post-fight? Hi, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, but that would be cheating, and honestly, we here, the lore walkers, firmly believe in cheating, but I don't want to cheat right now. I mean, can you imagine all of the incredibly tangible and valuable gamer cred I would lose if I was to cheat on this game? What did Yoda say when he saw himself in 4K? HDMI! Stuff like that, if I could just preach about this for the 700th time, is why I tend to not have that... why I tend to dislike that attitude of, it's a 20-year-old game, it's fine to spoil. Because if I was to just spoil FF10 casually right now, I would actually spoil it for someone who is in chat right now. Oh god. Because, you know, it's an old game. So it's his fault. Sucks to be you, Ross. Spatooey. And I just wanted to rant about that for the 50th time, because I know plenty of people who have that attitude of, it's an older thing, so it's okay to spoil, because it's an older thing. And it's like... hello? This is new. Alright, everyone, do your synchronized breathing exercises. Look at that, that's actually kind of eerie. The biggest problem I had with the underwater section is too many of the textures, underwater specifically, are entirely too similar to each other. It's legitimately hard to see where you're going, and in some cases I had to rely on the map to figure out where I was going. Especially when you see like the ice texture, which just looks like really light gray on the really light gray filter we have going for the water. Other than that, however, I do think it's better layout than the Minotaur town, which we already talked about. The structure of it was different. There's like a central hub area, which is where the dwarves are. And then you branch out over here, where there's a bunch of cultists where you can fight them. Then you branch out over here, that leads to like the machinery, and then you branch out over here, and that leads to the underwater section. And so that format worked really well for me. I liked that. I never felt lost in that particular section, and I did like how you could do it effectively in any order. That being said, I really question... So on the one hand, I like the idea of limiting what weapons you can use. There's a lot of tactical possibilities that exist there. The fact that they threw two types of enemies at us through that section is kind of an interesting choice, given that limitation. It's especially interesting considering how much effort it was trying to keep my minion alive the entire time. I think those are my thoughts on the water section. Sorry, I had to actually concentrate to get that out there. But I was about to say, I don't think that's a full positive worthy, but I think it would be easy to warrant an aggregate positive for that section. So let's jot that down. Let's do that. Yeah, hey Zura, I found a seed. You should totally eat it.
I will ward this place.
Oh god, oh god.
May the earth guide us.
Okay, made it to the roof. My ultimate goal has been realized. Falling off the roof. That was my other ultimate goal. Where am I going? Oh, yeah. There. I killed one conscript with it. You master. I didn't even die to it this time. Yep, we saw this version's Mancubus, and that's all we needed to see. It immediately made us think of porn. Oh, hello. Meanwhile, Religion Land. When did I say that?
3 years ago, in ye olde 2020.
Meanwhile, in Religion Land. Ooh. Only I had those spells still that I blew on absolutely nothing. Oh, there he is, there he is, there he is! Yeah! Got him. Donation request fulfilled. Go away. Stop existing. Stop existing! Why do you exist? Grab it! Grab it! Someone asked me to waste that nuke on the cultists, okay? That's all I'm saying. Damn it! I can't loot the health! Damn you! Why do you dislike health? What are you, McDonald's? I gotta try something here. They have got some range. Okay, so. It looks like they actually are moving. Check that out. That's cool. I like it. I am totally gonna rev up the penguin. You don't even know. You don't even know how much I'm gonna rev that penguin up. That's not even a euphemism. That penguin's gonna get revved. Take positivity training, you know. If you got this penguin, you got this penguin. X%. X%. Stop like psychic shocking me or whatever you're doing there, buddy. Sounds like no. It's just Oko. The whole game is just Oko from now on. I just need to accept this. Alright, well, let's move on, I suppose. Let's fail at a jump. Very important part of the process. Let's get hit before we successfully jump. Kill this asshole before we jump. Let's die to another asshole before we jump. There'll be so many deaths before this jump, you don't even know. You don't even know. All the deaths. Oh, hey. Health. We're at full health, what do you know? Now we can say, screw it. Incubus. Die. Die, Incubus. You're gross. I don't even want to know the lore behind you because it's gross. We're dead. Because of the gross. We got the gross. Gross killed us. But that's okay. Because now the gross is gone. Because we killed the gross. The gross is alive. You know what my favorite thing is about these ships that are sailing on a sea of fire? That's wood. I'm not even making fun, I just think that's funny. See you around, Mag. Have a good one. I can't believe that worked. No expecting guess. Come in, Half-Blood, don't be shy, I'm right around the corner. She's controlling me. No, Tiati. Surprised to see your little friend here. She was rather helpful in retrieving the seed for me. The Baron was slightly reluctant to share it, but thanks to you two, it's in my possession now. Silence, Worm. Your pitiful sailor is powerful for me. I'll enjoy draining the life out of you. What? Where did you... Perfect music choice. We have to have the perfect Lost in the Wilds music. Something that actually encapsulates just how messed up and horrific this entire situation is. Unfortunately, I'm not sure I actually have the song I have in mind, but give me a second to see if I can find it. If you don't recognize it, Mr. Ed, I got nothing. By the way, I do want to say I'm very proud of you all. I've heard very few head-on jokes this particular run. In fact, I've heard a grand total of 2.
Head on, applied directly to the forehead. Head on, applied directly to the forehead. Head on, applied directly to the forehead.
Now, pull yourself together, champion. I'm sure there's a place for you in paradise. But before you ascend into paradise, you must descend into hell. Oh my god! We were in hell this whole time. Now, there's an interesting thought. So, this is a giant fire lake in the underground. And we know that the elemental gods are a large-scale thing in this thing. What if this used to be the elemental gods spot? What if this used to be fire, like you just mentioned? Fire's domain. Of the elemental domains, right? And then what if the demons are either people who moved in and usurped it via the void, or, and I like this idea better, what if the classic demons, the non-void demons, are actually former fire worshippers? Former members of the fire group, a fire clan, or literally maybe fire elementals. So it also explains why fire does little damage to them.
Huh?
I think I like the idea that they're former fire elementals best of those two. And that they were corrupted by the psionic demons. Which, by this terminology, yeah, I'm not doing that, would qualify then as what we would actually refer to as demons. Because then the idea there is that the psionic demons took one of the elemental sides and said, hey, you know, it'd be really cool, like torturing and killing people. It would be so fun. You could just do it. You could just do it forever. And the fire people were like, you know, they're making some sense. I mean, they're fire, right? You know what fire elementals are like. Hang on, we got 2 more shots. This is one of them, very important. Oh, that worked out weirdly well. Don't be so quick-tempered, a passionate first impression. Let's see more of that brute strength. She liked it. Oh my god. There, can we dance yet? Please? Hey, let's dance. My eyes just can't get enough of that sculpted physique. Can't help but wonder what motions that hulking body of yours is capable of. How about of a dance? My voice is slowly giving out, I just noticed that. It's okay, we're about 3 minutes from when I'm going to cut off anyways. Mr. Red, how do I get to the boss? Quick. Help me. Quickest route. Is it back this? It's back this way. Okay. We're going back this way. I believe you, Mr. Red. You would never lead me astray. This is the way. Alright, we're here. We made it. Wait, we didn't make it. No, we're dead. Okay, hang on. I hate you, Mr. Red. Forgive me, my dear journal, but I can't allow you to understand these words. For they are far too shameful. Even for me. I've been visiting the library. More often than I used to. Looming from the shadows and admiring a most sure what that word is. Peculiar, odd, book. Most peculiar book. Thief. Like the seed that braves the dry stone on which it has landed upon my... I was managing it. Atlanta, but my gardener has been spreading the roots of his mind beyond his limitations. He's ready to sacrifice everything to perfect his art. My heart is pounding. I did mention I would make you rich, right? Mwahahaha. Fool, do you think I'd risk letting you remove the Baron from power? Mwahahaha. Trade is going far too well for us under his rule, so here's your share. Enjoy counting the coin for eternity. Hi, Shady Fixer. You should have just given me the bag of holding. Give me your money! I do have a ring, but I want to burn it on this. What's funny is these piles of gold are making this much harder than you'd think, which feels like a metaphor for something, you know? Hey, you actually charged it. We can escape now. One moment, let me just, finish stuffing my boot with coin.
Huh?
Can you wait a moment? Think about how much gold we could have carried with us. Really? Ugh, I'm out of here. See me at Murgoth's camp. Maybe selling you some gear will mellow me out. Ah, thank you for the rubies. Ah! She upped her prices. Which we can't afford. Oh, you son of a submariner. Alright, whatever. And I gathered all the gold I could in there just in case. Please, Haplin, we need the bottles when we depart. If you need mod, take it from the fountain. Glug. 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 Yeah, like, I imagine it has just a tiny bit of mint to it. You know, so it tastes fresh. Not like really minty, just like that kind of thing where it leaves that aftertaste, you know? Like it tastes cooling as you're drinking it. Slurp, slurp, slurp. Okay, we're good. It's like Mentos. There you go. Boom. Mana tastes like Mentos. It was specifically, I don't remember the numbers, but it was a number of shield maidens, a number of regular cultists, and one dog. And it was something I was using as a specific way to highlight how Doom does encounter design. You know, I'm going to give the whole speech. I'm going to give the whole speech. Here, hang on. So, this game is... I'm just going to be as honest as I can, and I'm going to try to work backward there. I'm really bored with this game right now. Gameplay-wise. Specifically gameplay-wise. I want to see where the story's going. I'm interested in more of dealing with the demons and their hierarchy and stopping the Baron and all that stuff. But I want to stop playing the game, okay? So that's core. We're starting right there. Now, I've been trying to dissect why that is. Now, my presumption was that it was due to encounter design. So, one of the things this game does is it often has what I would refer to as, not so much bad encounter design, so much as not encounter design. Let me give you a perfect example of this. One of the most common enemy encounters, one of the most common formations we tend to encounter, is regular old cultists, that's the conscripts, and the green orb throwers, right? We just encounter those in a group together. Like, and usually there's like someone else supporting them, but that's it. The thing is, when you parse it down mechanically, there's actually no difference between a conscript and a initiate. They're the same enemy. They look different, and there's some differences in their stats, but how you mechanically deal with both is identical. They're both ranged mobs that shuffle around and periodically shoot at you. And in both cases, it's a slow-moving projectile, which you can and are encouraged to dodge. Identical, right? Sense make? And so you encounter those two enemies together, and all you're encountering is the same enemy in one group. There's no formation. There's no design. No, exactly. So this is why one of the things I was thinking of, because it's actually several conjoining concepts here. What we have is terrain design, itemization, gun design, enemy design, and encounter design. And all of these things kind of combine to make what we refer to as Doom. Now, I say the Doom method, but let me actually take a step back here for a moment, because when it comes to designing a game like this, there's two primary things you can focus on. There's encounter design, and then there's enemy design. Something like Half-Life, or more accurately Half-Life 2, is a good example of enemy design. It focuses much, much more on, not on the mix and match of enemies to make the encounter interesting, but on the enemies to make the encounter interesting, giving them unique abilities, or fun little gimmicks, or changing up their AI scripts, or whatever, right? And so you do that, and that makes the encounters fun or interesting or engaging, and you have that variety as you're going through the game, as you fight different types of things, and they escalate, and sometimes there's other directions they go in, and blah, 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 blah. A perfect example of this is Ravenholm, just to zoom in the camera a little second. In Ravenholm, you encounter slow-moving zombies, okay, but then you encounter fast-moving zombies, and also environmental traps, and also head crabs. All four of those things are all each an enemy in a gameplay mechanics perspective, and each one of those functions differently. You deal with them differently. The slow-moving zombies are basically fodder, and you can deal with them however. They are there to be fun, catharsis effectively, because you have the gravity gun, which you just got, and the buzzsaws, which are everywhere. Oh yeah, sorry, there's also the poison head crab. I actually forgot about that, so there's another one. But the head crabs are much too fast-moving and much too small to reliably hit with that methodology. So you have to use a different strategy for them. Now, ironically, melee is the best when dealing with a head crab, just getting out the crowbar and smashing them. But there's other things you can do, too. The poison head crab should be dealt with at a range because of the problems they cause. The environmental traps are things that are... This is where environment design kind of bakes into... Terrain design, excuse me, bakes into encounter design. And then there's the fast ones, which make you crap your pants. Now, each one of these is enemy design, and each one of them is rather different in how you deal with it. But you'll notice, if you pay attention to the Ravenholm section, they don't really mix and match these all that much. Because they're not working on encounter design, they're working on enemy design. So, let's look over at Doom for a second. Now, hi lady, low kitty. Doom has, I think, like 7 different enemy types, not counting mini-bosses and the like. It's actually a relatively small number. One other thing you'll notice about Doom, and let's go back to the original Doom, too. Let's really focus in on this for a second. One of the things you'll notice is that the overwhelming majority of enemies in the game are encountered relatively early on. What I mean by that is, unlike, say, Half-Life 2, where you're still getting new enemy types as far as, like, the second to last level, in Doom, you have gotten almost every enemy type as far as, like, 1/3 of the way through the game. Now, how do you make that interesting at that point? Well, because this is a deliberate design choice. Here's all the enemies, tutorial, 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 tutorial. Now we start mixing and matching them in ways that varies up the encounter. This is encounter design. So let's say we have, let's go back to the example I was just going to use. We've got the Iron Maiden, we've got the Initiate, and we got the Dog. Now the Iron Maidens, they have the shield, which prevents them from taking damage from most types of attacks. There are ways around that, but they've got a couple of them clustered, and they're effectively area denials. They're there to prevent you from just walking in and meleeing or otherwise exploding the enemies in front of you, right? Then you have the Initiates immediately behind them. Those are your ranged guys, just like the others, or whatever the hell they're called. They do range damage. They're there to harass you while the melees hold the line. Cool. Now, let's stop there before we add the Dog, because right there what we've done is we've encouraged the player to go one of 3 different routes with it, not counting avoidance. If they have rockets, that is to say the crossbow, one of the techniques, and you've probably seen me do this several times, is you can shoot at the ground. You can shoot around them. The splash damage will hit them. They're all clustered. You're encouraged to do AoE damage in general. Boom. As you dealt with, right? Option 2 is what I actually used in that exact encounter earlier, which was the flamethrower, which bypasses the shield. Option 3 is the other thing that bypasses the shield, which is, of course, the lobber. Either the pink one or the green one, it doesn't actually matter, because both are functionally the same in this course, right? So what do you do in this case? Well, in order to vary up the encounter, what you do is you can either encourage the player towards a certain thing, or discourage the player towards a certain thing. So in the case of the Dog, that's a discourage. Because there's a Dog there, you are now discouraged from using the rocket launcher. Why? Because the Dog rushes up to you. It is fundamentally different from the other enemy types. So it rushes right into your face. You use a rocket launcher thing, and it's going to blow up right in your face, and it's going to kill you. Same thing with the lobber, by the way. both the green and the pink, if I were to use those, would possibly hit that dog which is rushing forward, which would smash me in the face. Thereby, the only real feasible thing I am being directed towards and how to deal with that encounter is the flamethrower, which is exactly what I did. Does this make sense? So this is how you can vary the mix and match of enemies in order to either encourage or discourage certain types of tactics and thereby vary up the encounters. Another example I came up with, actually wrote it down here, was using a floater. So let's say you go ahead and you have 3 tank dudes, 3 range dudes, and a floater. Now, there's several floater types in this game, each of which functions a little bit differently. So we've got the elementals, the forge elementals, we've got the ladies who fling magic and also poison area, and we've got the geniuses, the gargoyles, right? So 3 different floater types, right? Now, each of those floater types is, well, excuse me, 2 of those floater types are fairly similar to each other, but the third one is substantially different from them. So each one of those could be used in conjunction with the 3 and the 3 to vary up the encounter. Let's say we use the geniuses. What does that actually change? Well, the geniuses mean that if you've already, you've got them down, so now you've got all sorts of tools you can deal with to deal with the ground thing. But you're going to need something either fast-paced, or you're going to have to be really good at your ammo, or really good with your aim in order to be able to hit the genius, because the genius moves so fast. Or you're going to risk being hit in the face again, because the genius likes to rush right up on you, just like the dog does. So the genius serves the same general purpose as the dog, and you are once again encouraged to either use a different weapon or switch weapons in order to deal with the encounter. Cool. Let's talk about the Forge Elemental. The Forge Elemental is slow enough moving that you can hit it with the rest of it, but what the Forge Elemental is going to be doing is it's going to be shooting at you while you're doing this. So, and the shots that the big Forge Elemental shoots are nice big AoE explosions. So now you've got a second layer of area denial going on. You're trying to dodge this stuff while you're dealing with the smaller group, which is maneuvering and changing around. Once it's dead, it also turns into the little guys, which once again rush you, which once again discourages you from the AoE approach. But now the really interesting one is the witch lady thing. I don't know what the enemy type is called, I'm sorry. But the one that shoots 2 types of attacks. One is a little gas attack, which leaves a thing of gas on the ground, which is another form of area denial, if you're paying attention. And the other is the homing attacks, which force you to move rapidly and in certain types of patterns in order to avoid those things. You either have to line of sight, or you have to move forward and under, or you have to do like a figure 8 kind of a thing in order to get around, right? So now you can see how each of these 3 different types of floaters, in addition to the original core mechanic of 3 tanks and 3 ranged, changes how the encounter functions and how it moves forward. Does any of this make sense? Because I'm doing this terribly because I'm out of it. Actually, I did know that, zombie. Which is why you could understand how setting the Forge Elemental might encourage you to use the green thing in order to take down the entire group. Because then you've got the AoE to take the group at the bottom. The green launcher goes through the shields, and the green launcher can take care of the Forge Elemental without having any other issues. And the Forge Elemental is slow enough that you don't have any problems with that. But if you use the rocket launcher, that is to say the crossbow, on that, you would still be able to hit the Forge Elemental. It's slow enough, but then it's going to blow up into things that are going to go around your face. So you could see how the player's being funneled into certain tactics in order to deal with these, probably without even really thinking about it. Like, by the time you're at the point where these kind of combinations are in the game, you're supposed to just be doing this kind of a thing. This is Doom Encounter Design 101. This is extremely basic stuff, and I apologize for wasting your time on it, but this has been bouncing around in my head for a while, because I've been trying to understand why I'm just dulled by the encounters of this game. One encounter that really stuck out in my head, well, you know what, I don't want to go into that. Let's move on from that. So that is a possible answer, Dream Whisperer. That is possibly what's going on here. There are occasional moments of good encounter design. I have seen them. In fact, we saw one several minutes ago at this point. But I think the core issue I'm having, and you can go ahead and make fun of me for this, is that I have to blow my nose. The core issue, I think, and this is going to sound strange, considering this is me, and considering this is an RPG, is I think the length of the game is actively hampering its combat at a certain point. Because the encounter design is mostly not interesting. There are rare exceptions where there's a fun encounter, there have been. But for the most part, the encounter design isn't. One of the things I mentioned to Mr. Red on Discord is it feels like most of the decisions of which enemies are where is more from a lore perspective than a game design perspective. Let me use a random example. How many times have you seen, let's say, 5 random cultists surrounded by one of the machine gunner demons? To my knowledge, that actually encounter hasn't happened in the entire game. Even though from a gameplay perspective, for all the reasons I outlined earlier, forgive me for not going through all the steps right now, that would be a perfectly acceptable gameplay encounter design. But we don't see that, because there's no reason for initiates to be hanging around those demons. So instead what we have is story decisions. This is why there's so many areas that are just initiates, I presume. This is one of the reasons we have so many areas that's initiates and conscripts. It's because, of course, those groups would be hanging out together, right? So it makes perfect sense from a story perspective. And almost every encounter in the game makes sense from a story perspective, but doesn't really have a lot of perspective. Doesn't really have a lot of design from a gameplay perspective. I would also agree with Loke on that one. Some of the bigger set-piece fights are actually engaging. And, you know, woo! But then, I don't know. I will also admit, so let me rewind back to what Dream Whisperer was talking about. So length of game, right? When you can't pull a Paper Mario 2 or a Half-Life 2, in other words, when your design decisions are so limited that you can't do that much enemy design, you have, the only tool left in your kit is encounter design, right? That's why I keep talking about encounter design, and that's why I keep talking about Doom. Even though this is very clearly not an FPS, and it's very clearly not designed like an FPS, and it's very much structured like an RPG, the problem is the tool kit in display here, oh god, I can't talk. The toolkit on display here is so limited in enemy design that it has to sit on encounter design. And that's why I keep emphasizing that point, because I feel like even the Doom encounter design thing gets old after a bit. That's why Doom is a 7-hour game. And that's if you're taking your time. And that's me getting back to Dream Whisperer's point. If you'll notice, virtually every Doom game, Doom 64, we actually reviewed Doom 64 on camera, and I kept praising the encounter design. But the thing is, Doom 64 was how long? I'll actually pull up my numbers on this. How long did it take us to get through Doom 64? Let's see here. $7.8 hours. There you go. 7.8 hours. And that makes my point for me right there, because there's only so much you can do to vary up encounter design. Really. There is a mathematically finite... Whoops, didn't mean to tab back to the game. There's a mathematically finite amount of encounter variety that exists. There's only so many. And once you've done it, it's like, well, we can escalate. You know, there's ways to escalate that. So let's go back to my original encounter idea. So we've got 3 Iron Maidens, 3 conscripts, 1 dog. How do we escalate that? Well, we can actually mix and match this with some of the other concepts we've had. We could throw in something like one of those gunner demons. We could throw in the lady that shows up and that shoots from the distance. So we've got a little bit of area denial. We've got some serious damage output that's coming through, and we've got the original construction. So there we go. We've pushed it up. The overall encounter isn't really different. It's just a higher tier. But again, you can only do that so much. Now, Mr. Red asked me a question, which I wanted to address on camera, if that's okay. He said, Lore, why is this game amazing, and why does it work so well? And I think it works so well partially because it is a very unique game, and because the story is really awesome. I legitimately have not thought of a negative to story yet. And because it tries very hard to invest you. And he mentioned something about what I call consequence storytelling, which is it's a specific brand of storytelling where the events clearly have a knock-on effect of things as you're going through it. Now you could say, oh, so if you make a decision, it shows up later in the game. No, 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 no. That's a gameplay thing. That's a choices thing. Consequent storytelling is when events have clear impact later on in the narrative. There's logic to it. It makes it feel more internally consistent. And there's definitely been some of that in the game, and I'm going to give it another story positive for that when I remember to do so. Which is right now. Let's not cheat fate here. Let's not tempt fate here. Let's go ahead and jot that down right now. Consequence storytelling. There we go. Okay, got it. But another thing he asked me was, what's a game you could study for encounter design? Now, yeah, no kidding, Wolf Alex. So I mentioned 2 games which are probably the best encounter design in JRPGs that I could think of off the top of my head. Off the top of my head, don't attack me. One is Paper Mario 1, and the other is Paper Mario 2. Now the thing is, Paper Mario 1 is actually more about encounter design, because the amount of actions you have are relatively limited in Paper Mario 1, whereas in Paper Mario 2 you have a huge kit of things you can do, and also lots and lots of enemy variety. Now if you're paying attention, this is the final thing I wanted to talk about, this is why I'm bringing this up. One of the additional variables there is what you, the player, can do. So let's actually look at the game for just a second. So, melee. Exactly what it sounds like. Does a decent amount of damage. Very high risk, obviously, in a game where you could die in 3 hits from full health. So, let's move a little bit. We got this gun. This is actually a good precision gun. There's certain enemies this is great against, like the Forge Elementals, for example. But ultimately, its alt fire is just a slightly more precise thing. So really, it's just the ranged precise gun. Then we've got Shotgun Blast, which can also be Flamethrower, very useful. Machine Gun. Again, for all intents and purposes, this functions the same way this does mechanically, so there's no real difference between the two. This, which actually functions the same way both of the previous assault rifles do, it's just you don't have to have a reload cycle, and it does a lot more damage. So this is the previous, but better, chain gun equivalent. Rocket launcher, this is substantially different. This is the first one that's really different, because again, this does a notable amount of splash damage. So, you know, I could shoot right, I don't know if you can see the green dot on the stream, but like I could shoot right there and do damage to that thing. This is actually the primary way I tend to use this kind of thing. Grenade lobber, obvious. This is actually probably one of the most unique weapons in the game. This is a stop moving wherever I put this. This is a grenade splash of death wherever I put this. And then we've got this, which is another assault rifle, which has the unique alt fire mode. So let's go through that. We've got the assault rifle, shotgun, and flamethrower, which are functionally the same thing for several reasons. I'm saying that wrong. The flamethrower is actually the same as the assault rifle. It just gets through stuff. So we've got the regular gun, the assault rifle style combat. We've got the shotgun style combat and the flamethrower style combat. There we go. Get all that out there. We've got the rocket launcher. We've got the grenade launcher. And that's kind of it. Now, I'm not saying this to be negative. Really, I'm not. This is not a criticism. What I'm saying is this is actually part of encounter design too. What you, the player, can do needs to inform your enemy design and your encounter design. Let's pull this back to Paper Mario for just a second. What can you do in Paper Mario? You could jump on an enemy, you can hammer an enemy, and there's like a handful of other attacks, but it boils down to jump, hammer, direct, AoE. That's it, 4 attack types. There are a couple of exceptions, but really that's the majority of it. So very limited overall kit in the player's handbook, right? Similarly, the enemy design in Paper Mario is not all that fantastic. It's good, don't mistake me. It's just, there's enemies that prevent you from hitting them a certain way. There's enemies that attack in a certain way, and that's kind of it. So Paper Mario 1 leads substantially on the encounter design way to actually make its encounters interesting. Paper Mario 2 has a huge kit of what the player can do, and a huge enemy variety. This is actually why I keep telling you to ignore me completely, Mr. Red, and not look at Paper Mario 2's encounter design. Because Paper Mario 2's encounter design is designed around a game in which you have a ton of things you can do, and there's a ton of things the enemies can do. one of the first encounters in the entire game in Paper Mario 2 is 3 enemies who are completely different in mechanics. A Goomba with a spike on its head, and a Paragoomba. You might think, what's the friggin' difference? The Goomba can be dealt with in any way. It's fodder. Sound familiar? Because that's the conscript. The spiked Goomba can't be jumped on, asterisk. So you need to be able to deal with that in some other way, which at the time, you know, that would involve the hammer. The Paragoomba is actually unique because the way you attack it determines how it moves. If you attack it directly, it just takes damage. But if you jump on it, it loses its wings and becomes a regular Goomba. And that's another thing. Enemies that change what type of enemy they are based on interaction, right? Does this make sense? So don't lean on that. Instead, let me pull another thing out of here. Because I thought about this too. I swear this is the last thing, and I'll get back to the game. Dragon Age Origins. Now, DAO has a lot of enemy variety, mostly because the enemies can do anything. They can do all the spells you can do, and then some. But let's ignore that for a moment. Let me pull into one specific encounter in Dragon Age Origins, the Circathrian fight. Now, I don't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head, but the Circathrian fight only involves 3 types of enemies. A heavy hitter, which has a lot of HP, blockers, who are difficult to pull down and are, you know, going to be controlling terrain effectively, and archers. That's it. It's one of the most difficult, if not the most difficult fights in the entire game, and is brilliant in how simple and yet well constructed it is. You are in a relatively simple room, but there are ways to actually back off and gain some terrain advantage in the previous hallway. So that's terrain advantage. You've got the archers. There are more archers than anything else. This makes sense because those archers are, they're the lowest health and they're the quickest and easiest to kill. So they start the furthest away from you, and there are more of them than the others. There's only a couple, I think there's actually 3 shield guys. But again, the shield people, their big shtick is that they will get right up in your face, and they'll take attacks of opportunity, and they're all about CC. They're there to prevent you from moving and altering the battlefield. And then, of course, you've got Circathrian herself, who hits like a truck and has tons of HP. Oh, also winning it is completely optional, which is also relevant. But think about how much tactics and how much thought has been put into a fight that really only has 3 types of enemies. You have a lot of ways to deal with this fight, but overall, you are once again guided towards certain types of strategies. If you try to focus fire Cothrian, she has so much health that that's not really feasible unless you can really alpha strike on her. So instead, what you're trying to go ahead and focus on is something else, like, say, the guards who are preventing your movement, or the archers who are doing the majority of the damage in the fight. And which one you go after depends on your makeup, who you're using and why you're using them. If you have a party of mages, then you're dead. But you can probably make something work by using your own CC on the guards to counter CC, and then trying to focus your AoEs on the archers, because the archers are going to be grouped up together, and so forth and so on. I'm not going to go down the list. I could probably spend 20 minutes just talking about that one encounter. But that is encounter design. So that's my final bit of advice to you, Mr. Red, directly. If you want to study encounter design in a game that is relatively limited, I would look at Dragon Age Origins specifically. Okay, that's everything. I've gotten all the thoughts out. Now I just need to go and shoot myself. Let's see. So we've got lobbers. We've got okay, gotta go. No, you're fine, Mr. Red. I do not mind. I actually told you yesterday I don't mind the walkthrough. In fact, I actually prefer the walkthrough. Give me the walkthrough! Swear to me. Alright, well, time to kill Groon. Stab! Alright, there we go. We are now the leader of the tribe. Pretty much so yeah. Now that we're in charge, I'm thinking more beer as a national mandate. The only way, Evo. It's the only way. Be free, little one. Be free. I think. Where did this come from? It's strange. Die, dog. Out of curiosity, what is the non-evil method here? Well, we killed the dog. Like you do. Well, that sounds like that would take... What? What's up? Nothing unusual has happened here. Hey, your dog's dead. Just so you know. Bye. Hey! That's how you make a sleep potion. Good thing we killed the dog instead of doing that. Good job, ladies. Unfortunately, that was probably when I should have fired the mortar. It occurred to me after I was already unloading ammo into them. You know! I mean, I could... Where did I say it? Where did I say it? Hang on. Where was this? Was this... Yep, okay. There we go. And we're 10! Yes! More than... P.S. Stop using disgusting animals to feed my plants. I have sent you someone with much fairer blood instead. Okay. Let me explain why the jumping here sucks. Let's actually go into some detail here, shall we? So, hang on. Let's get rid of this weird, gross background. And I guess we've got nothing but weird here. This isn't weird and gross. There. Okay, so. The most fundamentally easy way to explain why jumping sucks in this engine is that your movement controls differently in the air versus on the ground. Let me try to explain this. So let's say here's a platform, and you're like, okay, I want to jump onto the platform, stop, and then turn and go this way, right? So here's the deal. You need to hold forwards the whole way until you land on the platform. Why? Because if you stop holding forwards in the air, you immediately lose inertia. Immediately. Like, it's like you hit a cushion of air and you just plummet straight down in a very severe arc. I don't have to prove this because you just did that several times. But hang on, it gets worse. Because when you're on ground, if you hit stopping, you slide quite a bit. There's some squiggity effect. So in other words, you want to hold forward until you land and then immediately let go. Otherwise, you go right over the edge. Hold forward too little and you fall short. Hold forward too long and you keep going. This is in addition to the basic problems of not really being able to tell where you are, which is an FPS platforming problem in general, or the fluidity of the controls, which I don't know how to explain other than by saying that we move around like this. How many beds do you have? Why do you have beds everywhere? You won. Claim the last fragment. The key is yours. The Baron better watch out. Okay. As for Adder's class task, come closer. I have much to... Do we have to have sex with her? Like, okay. You know what? Is it faster to have sex with her? Okay, fine. Let's have sex. I'm just a romantic softie at heart. Look, I'll have sex with you if I'll get it over with, okay? Be free. I can finally move. Thank you. May the gods witness your wits and bless you. Let's leave this foul place at once. Yeah, no kidding. Oh no, the atrophy. My body's too weak to continue. I'll just slow you down. Go on without me. Yeah. You remember how Neo in The Matrix needed muscle therapy to move? It's kind of what I'm picturing here. Okay, well, whatever. We got her out of horrible death, and that's all that really matters, so... See, I killed a puppy, but I saved an innocent life. It balances out. That's how that works. You can make a statue. Oh my god, that's a lot of salt. That's almost as much salt as I've produced during the course of this run. Good morning, Monobrent, and good tidings. Good tidings, everyone, by the way. What's up, dude? Oh, yeah, right. There you go. How does it feel to have a statue? Now imagine thousands of people bowing before it. That's stupid. I know just where to put it. You've earned my taint. Don't ever say that again. Hey, I'm better than you. My connection with Nithriel is flared up. I can feel her at the top of the Citadel. She's... evolving! Dun, 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 dun. Sorry. How would I explain the graphical style of this game? It's Doom! There you go. Boom. Done! Tell me, Half-Blood, how much does a fly know of the world around the rotten fruit it feasts upon? So, are you the fly in this analogy? Be honest with me, Blue Baron. You had a chance to burrow yourself away from the horrors of the void. But you persisted! And every insect that lives to irritate is doomed to the same fate. It gets squashed. Or we could just jump in. Whee. ... Now that's an interesting music choice. Good, you made it. Quickly now, use the soul key fragments to free me from the Baron's vault. Okay. Oh god, we have low gravity down here. You sure you want to free her? It's not too late to join the winning side. Now that's an appropriate song for whatever's going on here. Look at that, what you will. What? What? That asshole! Oh yeah, and the Minotaurs. And the Minotaurs. So the guy who was bouncing on the thing bounced on me and threw off my thing and threw me into the fire. If you were catching that. My sister got me a gift for good tidings. Thought I'd share it with you here. Hello. Yeah, I don't like the eyes that much. They're kind of terrifying. I haven't named him or her yet. Not sure. Bob, no. Also, you're fired, Nero's us. Hang on, I'm curious. What happens if I use a test tube with, like, just a person in it? Well, that's actually kind of horrible. Wow. Oh god, it's the Scarlet Rot! Appropriate. This is the end of... I was reading! This is the end of an era of hiding in the dark and seeking a way to summon my dormant ancestors to the world where they belong. Soon enough that... Run! Run! Oh god, run the wrong way. Run all the way. Run all day. Try to die very much. No, I didn't forget the turret. I very deliberately left the turret to cover my back. The turret sacrificed itself for the greater good. Don't take the turret with us. Give me this turret. Alright, we're dead. You got this, turret! Now the turret's dead too. Release the cell lock. I can't believe the time has come for us to meet in the flesh. Is there something happening other than a lot of enemies and I can't move? Oh no, she's actually a shadow person! I knew it! She's a... I have absolutely no idea what I'm looking at. Kinda need that health though. Or not. We don't need that help. Change my mind. Change my mind. Don't need the help. Boop! Or not. Boop. There we go. Mega boop. Mega boop. Your struggle has been entertaining, but I am a master of your destiny. Now perish. Oh no! Oh, thank goodness. Zon, oh, thank the earth. We did it! It's totally not an illusion. It's an illusion. Easy now. Walk a bit if you can. Your body has weakened a lot ever since... Ever since what? Well, as long as everything's fine and you have some heals for me, I'm okay with this being an illusion. Give me heals! Give me heals! Don't push yourself so hard. Go upstairs, get something to eat. Does that involve healing me? I did everything in my power to heal you. No, you didn't! I'm at 1 health! I knew you'd recover. Alas, the fight against the Baron has left us all scarred. We're all that's left. I suppose cheating fate has only lasted us so long. Crystal Heart has fallen, our world is almost entirely withered away. Demons have allowed us to preserve the library, but we must pay in blood. Every several days, they return and choose one of us for sacrifice. A slow, sad end. Yep. Oh, this is cheerful. Walking on sunshine and rainbows. I'm leaning towards agreeing, Mr. Red. The time has come. It's time to sacrifice ourselves. Alright, little shark. It's gonna be you or me. You want it to be me? Okay. Whatever. I am their only hope. I blindly accept sacrificing everybody. Are you ready now, my green darlings? Open the door slowly. Don't try anything naughty. So anyways, got my weapon back, please. Thank you. Yeah, we could probably go and grab one. But just in case this is a terrible idea. Boop. Boop. Boop.
Lead us through.
I missed one. Boop. No? I like to think I just tap him on the nose, like, come on, let's go. Let's go ahead and pop this. if I could find it. Hello, come on. There it is. Am I out? I think I'm out. Damn it, I'm out. No. Okay, hang on. Go ahead and do something else then. Assist me, my most loyal of minions.
Zanley loved her turret so much.
Join me. Join me, my minion. We'll start cross-firing a little bit. I wonder if he's weak to fire. Hey, you weak to fire? Ask you for a friend. Looks like he's not. Okay. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Another... Wow, I guess I'm just getting scam calls all over the place. Look at that. Please stop making a mess of your own tech. Do you not care about this? You can tell he's a demon. Because he's making the maid's job just a living hell here. Feel the void overtaking me. You know, normally that'd be a bad thing. Like most people would say, oh no, the void's overtaking me. But you're like, yeah, that's great. I'm so happy about this fact. Maybe we need to have a chat. You know? A little heart to heart. Listen, lady. Hey, listen. This is your brain. And is your brain on drugs. I mean, on the void. Sorry. You just always have that backup slave. You're ready to go. Yeah, and time. Good job getting rid of him, Half-Blood, but you're always too late. Enjoy the peace. It won't last long. Then we jump up and we just, I don't give a crap who you are. Bam! No, as the Baron's dying echoes riled up the spirit of the sacrifice. What are we driving? Zahn made her swift escape back to the camp. Now that the hellish trials she had endured were finally behind her, her heart's... shoot, I missed it. A plan was devised to rebuild Valk into a stronghold worthy of those who stood brave against the demons. Why are we still using forge elementals? When the bloodlust cooled off, the war moved from the battlefields to taverns under the ears of the bards. And as the warriors recounted their feats against impossible odds, one name would always be uttered. Mr. Red. Why? Why? Oh no, and now it's the Precopolypse! I always knew. But hang on, I said I was going to do this if I... So, okay, for those of you not aware, I said at the beginning, Mr. Red offered to give me a, the DLC for this game, which, where is it? It's the extra, it's something, come on, where is it? Where is it? Here it is, the Extra Thick Edition upgrade. And I said, don't. What I want to do, based on what I understand, is that this is a support the developer DLC. And it's, yeah, because it comes with cosmetic HUD, wallpapers, avatar, soundtrack. It's purely just to support the dev. And I said, I want you not to do that because I want to support the dev if I like this game. Now, I've been pretty harsh on the gameplay axis, and I stand by that. But I absolutely support this game. I'm going to go ahead and buy that right now. I actually recommend anybody out there who's interested in any kind of what I would call adventure game or RPGs, or is just interested in something very unique in terms of construction and style, bias. I'm going to say this in the rumination too, the pre-recorded video. I do absolutely recommend you give a shot at this game. But there's something else, and it's been bouncing around the back of my head for a little while here, and I want to test it, so give me just a second here. Oh, wow. She impressed by that. Holy crap. Here. You get to burn to death. Congratulations. More ammo. Nice. Hammered it. I mean, honestly, that's kind of what I wanted to see there. But there's this last thing. You can't use guns, but you gain access to a new set of melee weapons to help you overcome this challenge. Monster strength is normal, but spawns are brutalizing. Hang on, I'm actually going to change the song for this. Actually, hang on a second. I want to see something. Nope. Whirlwind! And then we'll move up here. One more whirlwind. Just for fun. Okay, here we go. Did any of that go through? I don't even care. I don't even care. I notice there's a 0 there. Is that the kills? Looks like it's kills. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Okay, anyways. Moving on. There's a... Where's the prac? I keep hearing a prac.
Let's breach.
Ah! That's the axe. Okay, if it was a shark, I wouldn't have killed it, alright? That's all I'm saying. Isn't that right? Here, come here, come here. Ah! See, sharks are okay. Sharks are good. We give sharks hugs. Alright. Whoa, God, that's disorienting as hell. Okay. Hang on, let's just... Yep. Okay, we're cool. We're cool. Okay, there's a waterfall. I see a waterfall. I see another waterfall. I see the end of the abyss. Oh, God! Yeah, I saw the sign, which says, Shark-infested waters. Just living it up, like you do. That gives us a net +6 to gameplay. So let's shuffle over to story. I got a lot of questions. I'm actually kind of looking forward to... When's Hedon 3? God! Why isn't it out yet? Jeez, work faster. Joking aside, I'm actually looking forward to Hedon 3, so... That should be interesting when we get there. I believe that's actually it. So let me do some math. Everyone's favorite thing, but that's +23 to story. Alright, so let's see here. Hedon's golden number is 74.80, which, if I'm going to be 100% honest with you, is actually higher than I thought it would be. That is actually quite respectable. Especially for a 31-hour game. Obviously being just look at just some numbers here. 0.73 positives per hour on the story axis. You know what I should do? Since I like to do the very beginning of the video for the people who only watch the first 20 seconds of the videos. You know who you are. I just have a little thing saying, this is the Dark Souls of FPSs. And then, like, give it, like, a big cheesy grin. And then pause and, like, okay, now here's the actual discussion. Here's the actual video. I should totally do that.
What the hell am I doing in Hedon? This is a low-budget game.
Did you actually get him to do that? Okay. You got me there.